If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes funk. If I quit this season, I still beat the greatest funk.
My left stroke just went viral.
Right stroke put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Tell them be humble. Sit down. Be humble.
Welcome in Out of Bounds here on 103.7 The Buzz. Appreciate everybody listening in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. John Nabors, Joe Franklin, broadcasting live from the Hoggs Meat Market Studios with you today. And thank you, as always, for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. It is a wide open Wednesday here on the show today, folks. So anything and everything in the sports world that you want to talk about, let's talk about it. You can call or text in at 501-661-1037. Get after us in the Asher Record Live fan feedback after me on Twitter at BuzzJohnNabors. And today we're going to have a little bit of a loaded show for you because Pat Bradley, thanks to Motorsports Authority, will be joining us around 2:05. Looking forward to catching up with him. And also David Nuno of TexHags.com. He'll be joining us around 2:30. Excuse me, not 10:30. That would be weird. 2:30. Because we're going to get a little idea of what Arkansas can expect out of Texas A&M. He'll join us for a few minutes. Got Andrew Ellis joining us as well with some updates dealing with some of the injuries, especially with Rocket Sanders. And looking like he might actually be able to play this weekend. So we'll have that. And again, we're going to talk about all the other headlines and stories that are going on here in the sports world too. And I didn't get to hear the name of who won our Southwest Classic contest this morning. So
yeah, there's a big winner though.
Yeah, very big winner.
Somebody is very happy.
Yeah, very big winner. So congratulations to whoever you are out there, because we know that you're obviously an avid listener to the Buzz. It would have been cool if it was like one of our qualifiers, like one of our.
Don't think it was. I think it most likely would have been a drive time because he's from Monticello.
Oh, okay. So that would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
Most likely, drive time.
Okay. Well, very cool. So it's going to be an awesome weekend and looking forward to seeing you down there as well as all of you Razorback fans that are going to be making the trip. But I know we got a lot of things to get into today. I was really sad, though, this morning, Joe, when I woke up and saw that the legend Brooks Robinson had passed away. Someone who is not only legendary in Major League Baseball, but I will say it's like I'm, of course, not a big baseball guy, but I knew who he was. But I didn't realize that he was from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I had heard that he was did things in Arkansas. I didn't know he was from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Born and raised and brought a lot to the community here. He was well known here, but of course, being the guy that he was, being a baseball Hall of Famer, all the accomplishments all over the years, everybody knew about Brooks Robinson.
Oh, yeah. Like if you just really look at his entire career, he spent 23 years with the Orioles, which that's all he spent time with as a team was the Orioles for 23 years. It was before really the age of free agency. So that was pretty unique out of him. But just to look at some of the things that he had, where it was like 18 All-Star game appearances. He was the MVP in the AL in 1964. He finished his career with 268 home runs. He was known as the human vacuum cleaner. He won 16 consecutive Gold Gloves, second only to Greg Maddux by the most by any player at one position. So, I mean, as far as third basemen go and as far as just legends go, he was definitely one of the all-time greats. So it was really sad to see passing away at age 86 this morning.
That's impressive, too. 16 consecutive Gold Gloves. It's just 16 overall, but to win them straight and you're just the guy at that position for so many years, yeah, just big time. Big time. Yeah. He brought something to the game that it may not be repeated for a long time at that position for sure.
Yeah. Now we don't know what was the reasoning behind his passing, and I mean, not doesn't really matters, but
86 years old though.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of tells you, hey, when you get up there in those years, if anybody lives to be 86, if I live to be 86, I'll consider it, a huge success from that standpoint. But his family did post though, quote, "We are deeply saddened to share the news of the passing of Brooks Robinson, integral part of our Orioles family since 1955. He will continue to leave a lasting impact on the club, on the community, and in the sport of baseball." So that's what his family and the Orioles said in a joint statement. Wanted to be clear on that. So, but yeah, just really sad to see. And even had the moment of silence last night before the game against the Nationals. And they have a 9-foot bronze statue made of Robinson in Camden Yards. So just a very iconic and legendary player that's no longer with us.
That instantly becomes a memorial where people will want to put flowers and all kinds of things at the statue and take pics with it. They were doing that anyway whenever they would show up to go to games, but now just to memorize them and just think of the great player he was and the great person he was and what he brought to the game, then that definitely turns into an instant memorial.
Yeah. So just sad to see one of the all-time greats. And I think that it's people were asking, which is always tough to do, was he the greatest third baseman of all time in Major League Baseball history? I mean, I don't know if it's like for certain, but I definitely think he has an argument considering his accomplishments and what he did as an individual. But yeah, sad to see that this morning. But I know that there'll be some other things too with baseball happening last night. Some teams clinching some playoff spots, and I know we'll talk about that too. But before we get too much into it, I guess we can go ahead and work Jason in Hot Springs in here early on the show. What's up, Jason?
Hey, John. Hey, Joe. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Doing good, Jason. Good to hear from you.
Thank you. Hey, John. Who's the quarterback for A&M?
Well, now it's Max Johnson because Connor Wigman is hurt and reportedly out for the season.
So, how's this Arkansas team rebound for 0-2 losing streak to get back on track against A&M and Arlington? And then, Joe, how's the Arkansas defense has shut him down? And I hang up and listen.
Right.
Appreciate it, Jason.
Appreciate it. Yeah, as far as getting back from the 0-2 hole is, I think we've talked about a lot. Just not making the mistakes that they have been making, not beating themselves is, I think, what the biggest thing that Arkansas needs to do. It's not to say that if they limit the penalties and whatnot, then they'll automatically win against A&M because A&M's a good team. But it certainly will help their case if they just stop shooting themselves in the foot in desperate situations.
With the defense, they just need to tighten up and eliminate the explosive plays or limit the explosive plays. We've seen plenty of those over the past couple of games. They've given up some to BYU. They gave up some to LSU. So it's become a pattern at this point that they've done over the past couple of games. But also, if you go back to the first two games, we saw that it could be a problem. So now it has become a problem, and that's where they need to start in limiting or eliminating some of those big explosive plays on defense.
Yeah. And I'll also add into the fact of, Arkansas scoring wise is doing an all right job. I mean, they've scored 31 points and 38 points in the last two games. Problem is the other team scored more, and that's why they lost. But I will say that one of the things I'd like to see more so in this game, and easier said than done, but Arkansas is actually number one in red zone offense in the SEC. But that's because they've scored every time they've been in the red zone, but they've scored more field goals than they need to. That's something that I want to see, and I think would change. It would have changed the LSU game. It would have changed the BYU game, where not only just getting into the red zone, but even getting within the 10-yard line, just finding a way to get into the end zone instead of settling for field goals. You got to find a way to do that a lot more frequent because, I mean, Texas A&M's got a good offense, and I don't care that Connor Wegman's hurt and Max Johnson's coming in. Like, Max Johnson's good. He's got experience. He's a starter. I'm not saying that he's just as good, if not better, than Connor Wigman, but
he brings an added element to their offense also because he's mobile. He can, if the pocket breaks down around him, he can run and get out of it.
Yeah, because when he was the quarterback last year when he beat Arkansas, right? Wasn't he? Yeah, so he's got experience in it, but this has just been a frustrating game overall for Arkansas fans in general, and we all know that. But it is pretty crazy. I was thinking about it and looking at this series, just the game that's been played in Arlington, maybe not the ones that were in College Station or the one in Fayetteville. But of all those games that have happened in this game in Arlington, only 3 times has the game been won by double or 2 possessions or more. What I mean by that is by double-digit points. Only 3 times has that happened, and 2 of those times Arkansas won the game. And it just goes to show you how many times that these games come down to the wire. It's a 1-possession game. It's gone to overtime 3 different times. And I think the frustrating thing about it for Arkansas fans is that they've been on the losing end of it. So I don't see how this game ends up being any different. I'm not saying that Arkansas will win it. We'll get to our picks on Friday. But I have a feeling that regardless, whether it's a high scoring, low scoring, whatever, it's going to be one of those games where the game's on the line, final possession of the game for either team, and it's going to be a 1-score game.
It's definitely a game. And Jason mentioning Arkansas's defense, what A&M brings on the other side. Defensive wise, they've looked good in pretty much every game except for the Miami game. Now, Miami may be a team that's on a different level, and maybe you have to throw that one out in trying to do comparisons. But for the most part, A&M's defense is played well overall, and they do limit the points that are scored on them.
In fact, if you want to look at, to your point, Joe, of what A&M does really well, and you just look at it as far as the rankings go in the nation, but specifically in the SEC, pass defense, Texas A&M is number 2 in the SEC and number 15 in the country. So they're really good at pass defense, which last week, LSU, that may have been the weakness, even when we had Matt Moscona on, about the secondary. Is like that was one of their weaknesses that I think Arkansas was able to exploit. But Texas A&M is a different ballgame where they're really good at pass defense, and their passing offense or their rushing defense isn't bad either, as it's 6th in the SEC. But you're going to be going up against a good defense. They're really good at third down percentage on defense too. They're first in the SEC, where if you're on third down situations,
they're getting off the field.
They're getting off the field. So that's a big deal there too. And also, this is another thing I'm nervous for Arkansas' sake, is Arkansas has given up 100. Let's see, where is this at? Yeah. So they're 103rd in given sacks allowed, 10th in the SEC. Texas A&M is number 2 in the SEC at sacks in general, at getting to the quarterback. So that could be something to where, once again, KJ is going to have to be mobile and everything. But what's funny is,
and we've seen that game before, specifically against A&M, where KJ has had to leave the field due to an injury, and another quarterback had to play.
We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that again. Yeah, you want to see KJ stay healthy as much as possible. But how funny is it that, I shouldn't say it's funny, but Arkansas is one of the worst teams in the SEC at sacks allowed, yet they're number 1 in sacks. So like they get to the quarterback more than any other team in the SEC. But
they give and they take.
Yeah, I guess that's literally the definition of it right there. They give and they take. So, but also both teams are horribly penalized. Arkansas is dead last in penalties. A&M's 13th in penalties. So both of them are really bad in that regard. But both teams are also 1 and 2 in red zone offense. So both teams score when they get to the red zone, and red zone defense, they're actually tied at 9th in the SEC. So a lot of similarities, but a lot of ups and downs. It's just a matter of which weakness can be exploited by the other team is what it's going to come down to.
And speaking of scoring touchdowns when you get in the red zone, Cam Little is a weapon, and you know he's somebody that has this game circled and wants a little redemption.
Oh, without question. Without question. He's, you know what happened last year, and I think KJ's the same way. You know, I think that play haunts him from last season, from him diving from the 5-yard line. So I think Arkansas is going to have plenty of motivation in this game and plenty of incentive, but A&M, they're going to want it too. So it should be a great game and a great matchup. It's a wide open Wednesday here on Out of Bounds, folks. 501-661-1037 is the number to call or and text in. That's the question on Twitter. We'll ask you, why has Arkansas struggled so much in this game? Just plain simple. Why has Arkansas struggled to win these games against A&M? We'll get to that and a lot more coming up next here on Out of Bounds.
Tune in on Thursday nights between 8 and 9:30 for the Between the Mats High School Football Show featuring Matt McJunkins, Matt Wilcox, and Thomas Thrash from Hooten's Football. You'll hear coaches' interviews, weekly top 10s, players of the week, and the Fan Interactive Pick'em Challenge, brought to you by American Safeguard Insurance, Collier Roofing, and Globe Life Liberty National, Everett and Associates.
This is Sports Center.
Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, Baltimore Orioles legend, and Little Rock native Brooks Robinson passed away at the age of 86. He made his debut in 1955 and played third base for the Orioles for the next 23 seasons. He was an 18-time All-Star, a 2-time World Series champion, a 1-time World Series MVP, and a 1-time AL MVP, winning it in 1964. Also during that time, he won 16 consecutive Gold Gloves at third base. His 16 Gold Gloves are the most ever by a non-pitcher, and tied with Jim Cott for second most among any player, first being Greg Maddux with 18. And the Arkansas Travelers forced a decisive Game 3 in the Texas League Championship Series as they beat the Amarillo Sod Poodles 6-5 last night. Game 3 will be tonight. First pitch is set for 7:05. Coverage can be heard on 106.7 Buzz 2. I'm Christian Weaver with the Buzz Radio Network.
I'm living the life that I lived before I started having knee pain 10 years ago.
Meet Julie, a woman who makes the most of every moment in life. But over the last years, those moments were filled with agonizing pain until she discovered QC Kinetics.
Finally, the pain got so bad that people around me are like, oh, when are you getting your knee replaced? I was walking, hobbling. I listened to my last QC Kinetics commercial and I said, I'm done. I got to find out about this.
What Julie found out was QC Kinetics treats osteoarthritis with regenerative therapies, taking your body's own healing properties and concentrating them in the areas where you feel pain, helping heal and restore those damaged areas. No harmful steroids, surgery, or downtime.
It changed how I'm living. I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
Get back your life before the pain. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 501-222-8440. That's 501-222-8440. 501-222-8440.
This is the Pigskin Preacher bringing you the word. PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan recently returned to work after a medical leave caused by, quote, anxiety over the Saudi deal. Yeah, I imagine so. After 2 years of demonizing, vilifying, and attacking the LIV Tour and parading 9/11 families out to bolster his position, Monahan caved, signing the deal with his supposed enemy. The hypocrisy is off the charts. Monahan brings to mind the old George Bernard Shaw quote, "We've established what you are, madam. We're now merely haggling over the price." At Doublebee's, you'll never have to haggle over the price because you'll always get a good value for your dollar. We have great specials every month on the things you need. Doublebee's. It's where you gas it, grab it, and go. That's Doublebee's.
It's Kayak Chaos at Arts Marine. Pick your perfect kayak from their large inventory and start exploring the natural state. Right now, get 20% off feel-free kayaks. We also slash prices on Moken 10 and Lure 10 kayaks. Your granddaddy trusted Arts Marine, so should you.
Today is the day. After countless hours of research, cutting back expenses, and 9 months of anxiously waiting for her, today is the day you finally bring home your new car. It's also the day to protect her with an auto policy from Shelter Insurance. Our policies are competitively priced and include new car replacement coverage if anything were to happen to your new baby.
See Shelter agents Steve Ferguson in Little Rock, Todd Session in Morrilton, or Kyle Stone in Pine Bluff.
Ortho Arkansas presents the High School Scoreboard Show with Randy Rainwater, Kevin Bohannon, and Barry Grooms every Friday night at 10, only on 103.7 The Buzz. Brought to you in part by First Security Bank.
Check out Hoggs Meat Market's monthly specials and meat packages at hogsmeatmarket.com. Hoggs Meat Market, the steak people. You're listening to Out of Bounds with John Nabors and Joe Franklin.
How does Sam Pittman celebrate being bowl eligible?
Well, I believe I'm going to have my old cold beer. That's kind of what I like to do, you know.
Do you need any company?
Anybody want to come, but bring some, you know what I mean?
BYOB, baby.
Go home.
On 103.7 The Buzz.
Come with me now. Come with me now. Come with me now. I'll take you now. Come with me now. I'll show you how. Come with me now. I'll take you now. Come with me now. I'll show you how. Afraid to lose control. Caught up in this world. I've wasted time, I've wasted breath. I think I've thought myself to death. I was born without this fear. Now only this seems clear. I need to move, I need to fight. I need to lose myself tonight. Whoa! Come with me now. I'll take you now. Whoa! Come with me now. I'll show you how. I think with my heart, I move with my head. I open my mouth and it's something I've read. Stood at the store before I'm told. Part of me knows that I'm going too old. Confused what I thought was something I felt. Confused what I feel was something that's real. Tried to sell my soul last night. Funny, you wouldn't even take a bite. Come with me now.
It's a Wide Open Wednesday. You're on Out of Bounds. Appreciate everybody listening in this afternoon. This is a Wide Open Wednesday. I just heard Joe, you yell down to OHB down there that Portland Trailblazers are trading Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks officially. Wow.
Man, they just get stronger.
Oh, man.
You're talking about Giannis, Chris Middleton, who was injured during the playoffs, and Giannis was injured a bit during the playoffs also. But then you get the luxury of having Dame Lillard on the team with those guys, and not to mention what they have around them. Bobby Portis is a key part of their team. They're, I mean, on paper now, Eastern Conference, they are the team to beat.
Have to be. And I guess what was it just a few months ago when Giannis was talking about how he wants to make sure the franchise is committed to championships, with Milwaukee. I think it's a good sign.
They just showed it.
Yeah, man, bringing in Dame Lillard. So there you have it. As far as some breaking NBA news, but that's a pretty big deal. And Milwaukee once again trying to grow up and be not only the Eastern Conference champions but NBA champions. So that'll be a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, big breaking news there as well. Let's go to David, who's in Cabot, patiently holding. What's up, David?
Hey, I just wanted to, I don't know. I just don't have good feelings because A&M has Bobby Petrino, who is one of the best strategists in the world. And I guarantee you, if we put number 17 at safety like we did against LSU, he'll take a minimum of 5 deep shots down the field. Because I love the kid. He's got great football instincts. He should be playing the nickel back or hog position instead of free safety because he just doesn't have the foot speed. He has great instincts. And other thing is, when Max Johnson, we played him last year, we never even acted like the guy's left-handed. We would pressure him from the right instead of the left, which made no sense. I mean, come on, guys, scout the other team and try to take advantage of everything you can, because we definitely didn't the last game that we played against them. And I don't know.
Well, hey, listen, David, you got a new defensive coordinator and a new defensive staff, so maybe they'll get the memo this time around.
Well, maybe so, but what happened to our defensive ends against LSU? They lost containment, like they didn't know that's what their responsibility was. I thought our defensive ends were supposed to be our best players on the defense this year, and they looked lost out there half the time.
Well, I think they did a solid job. I mean, there were times where there were some mistakes made, but that's one of those things where, is it more about Arkansas's defensive ends not playing well, or just LSU's offensive line and the offense that they're putting together that's playing really well? That's kind of the ultimate question. But I still think Arkansas did a good job, at least in the beginning, against LSU defensive end wise. But this time around with Max Johnson, as Joe said, he's a little bit more mobile. And so I'm not going to try to compare him to Jaden Daniels, but he is a little bit more mobile, and he's somebody that's going to, be able to extend plays with his legs. And so the DNs and just the defense in general is going to have to be prepared.
Yeah. Well, I just hope we scout him enough to know that he's left-handed, so he's going to tend to drift to the left instead of the right. And I hope we at least bring the pressure from the left and force him to the right. But it remains to be seen. But, Bobby Petrino scares me because he's probably one of the best 5 in-game strategists there is. And he's going to scheme and take advantage of our lack of foot speed at safety.
Yeah, I think David, when we actually talked with David Nuno later in the show, me and him were discussing last night, I was asking him about Petrino, and he said that the thing that's impressed him the most with Petrino being there is just, as you said, the halftime adjustments. He says that he's just a mastermind behind it. So I think, if Arkansas's got a lead or something at halftime, it doesn't matter. Does not matter. If they're up by 20 points, it does not matter. You still got to finish out in the second half because that's when the game's going to be won.
And I honestly think when he was here, I think he pretty much schemed on the defensive side too, because our defense always seemed to shore up at halftime. And I think most of the time it was due to his brilliance instead of who our defensive coordinators were.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you got to give a lot of credit to Petrino in the offense and what he's doing at A&M, even with a backup quarterback. Because you remember what happened when Ryan Mallett went out against Auburn in 2010? Who came in and how they played? Yeah. Backup quarterbacks are always ready under Petrino.
Yeah, and Jesus, I think I was the only one who knew that the backup Alabama quarterback 2 years ago could run like the wind. Because you watch their A game, their whole second half was watching this quarterback even make the Bama defense look silly. And first time he took off against us, he went 80 yards, and everybody said, "Oh wow, that guy's fast." Well, yeah, you should know that.
Yeah,
you watch their A game.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Well, we appreciate the phone call, David.
You bet.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Great point on Max Johnson being left-handed, and you want to try to get him moving to the right. But there are quarterbacks that practice on that. Now, college quarterbacks may not be as up to speed as playing at the highest level, but you have quarterbacks that are right-handed and they actively practice rolling out to their left because they know that teams are going to come after them on their strong side and not that they're going to run them to their strong side. So we don't know that for sure, but it is a good way to go about it, to at least try it with Max Johnson, to make him move to his right, to see if he's capable of making throws going to his right.
Yeah, because with Wegman being out and them having this whole week to prepare, again, Bobby Petrino being the mastermind that he is offensively, he's going to find things like that that's going to throw him off a little bit. But again, even if Arkansas has success in the first half, he's going to make adjustments just like he always has in the second half. So you just have to have the defense be ready for anything coming their way. And, last year, didn't realize that, Max Johnson went 11 of 21 for 151 yards, but also it's A-Chain, right? There's A-Cane. I always forget.
A-Chain.
A-Chain. That's what I thought. Okay,
Who's tearing it up in the NFL right now.
Yeah, what was it? What was it? 4 touchdowns? 5 touchdowns? Something like that?
231 all-purpose yards, 203 on the ground.
Man, yeah, and that dude, hopefully one of y'all had him on his, probably most of you had him on the fantasy, was on his bench, but still, yeah, he was great last week. But last year against Arkansas had 159 rushing yards for 19 carries and a touchdown, which is 8.4 yards a pop. But he's not there anymore. And so Max Johnson is, but they still have a good rushing attack, should say, with Amari Daniels, who is out there with 234 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry, and their next guy, Le'Veon Moss, is averaging 5.8 yards a carry. So they got weapons. And it's a matter of, can Arkansas find some way to slow them down or find some way to get them off the field, cause some turnovers, whatever it may be. That's going to be the key in this one. So, but yeah, it's with Max Johnson being the guy, and I didn't even think about it. So again, great point by David. I didn't think about him being left-handed and the difference that's made. But yeah, I guess because I don't even think Arkansas's had I think we've talked about this. I don't think Arkansas's ever had a left-handed quarterback except for, what was it, Barry Lunny
Jr.
Yeah, he's pretty much the only one. So it is a unique thing, and there's been some great ones. I think Matt Leinart was left-handed. Michael Vick left-handed when he played in college. So it's something you maybe not think about a lot of times. Yep, Tua is a left-handed quarterback. Obviously, he's very successful. So there is some advantages to having that too, and it's something to definitely watch for.
And speaking of Tua and the Dolphins and A-Chain and everything that they did, scoring 70 points, they did a little look away or no look pass back to the middle of the field, and Tua did that. It's a no look, but he did that right-handed.
Oh wow. See, that's when you know you got a skill set for you, and I'm sure that's something he's practiced. Because in those situations. Because when they're a player, I don't know if it was in the NFL or in college. I think it was college because it was Penix, I think, is the one that
he's left-handed,
right? But I think in a play last week he was almost getting tackled and he threw a touchdown pass with his right hand because he was about to go down, something like that. I'm like, that's impressive. That's impressive to be able to do that. But yeah, another great left-handed quarterback that's been out there. Let's see on our Southern Structural Solutions text line. A few people chiming in. This comes from Lee. Lee says, guys, my dang Cardinals tried to help the Cubs last night by beating the Brewers, but they forgot how to catch pop fies. Love you, Acree. At least y'all are there. But to be some exciting wild card races this week, Brooks Robinson also did so much for the game of baseball in Arkansas and mainly Central Arkansas. Look up Lamar Porter Field and its history. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What was it last night with the because who was the just name escaped me, the Cubs player that dropped that ball in the 8th inning? I mean, it seemed like it was a routine ball up there. I had it written down over here, but that's a brutal way for. I mean, the Brewers are happy about it.
Oh yeah,
I mean they're ecstatic about it, but
they lost, but they won.
Yeah. Imagine that
they lost the game, but they won a division.
Yeah,
and that happens. It happens when you get down to the magic numbers in baseball, and that's what those numbers are for.
Yeah, because they clinched their division, and then the Phillies clinched a wild card spot last night, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think the Philadelphia Phillies did. So a few of those things happen, but it's amazing. Yeah, since we're getting close to October. Next week is October.
Oh yeah,
how crazy is that? Yeah.
It's moving by quickly.
I know. And my
and it's going to continue to move.
Yeah, my birthday's next week too, and I'm going to be halfway to 70. Jeez. I'm feeling.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
I know. I can't get it out of my head because that's what my brother told me last weekend when I visited him. He's like, "Yeah, you're gonna be halfway to 70." I'm like, "Oh, see, now I just have it stuck in my head now, where it's just like I can't view it as just being 35. Nope. It has to be halfway to 70." It's like, yeah, that's a bad way to look at it.
A lot of years in between.
I know. Also from the Asher Record Live fan feedback, Military Mike says, In the first half, KJ was in shotgun 34 times and once under center. He rolled out of the pocket 4 times, some merely between the middle hash lines, not far at all. I said last week that if KJ stays in the pocket more than he rolls, we lose 38-31. Keeping KJ in the pocket, not using his legs is a recipe for a 5-6 win season. He needs to move, not stay stationary. We have Cam 2.0. Now let Cam come out, coaches. When you start your offense 68 yards behind your own line, every time, how many yards do you think an offense can make up in a game? I think, I think there's a lot of truth to what they try to install. I think even Sam Pittman talked about it last weekend in the LSU games. They wanted to get KJ a lot more mobile. And I bet you anything, they're going to try to do it in this game too, because A&M's defensive line is really good, and they're going to come after him. And so try to get him out of the pocket, try to get him to move around. And I'm not saying I like taking sacks, because I don't, but if it means the trade-off is KJ using his ability to extend plays on occasion and seeing like the play with Luke has that's down the field, doing those things, then I think that I'm going to accept a sack or two or whatever for him holding the ball too long if it means he makes up for it by having other plays where he's taking that risk of extending the play to try to make some good throws.
As long as he's moving and doing it, if he's just standing stationary in the pocket and ends up taking a sack because of holding on to the ball too long, then that's a bit of a different story. Now, you can do that also where you're hanging in the pocket and you're waiting for something to open downfield, but we know how special he can be on the move. So incorporate that and do a little more of it.
Mm-hmm. And what was funny last year's game, I know it's different, but last year KJ actually was leading the team in rushing. He had 105 rushing yards and 171 passing yards, had 3 touchdowns, 2 in the air, 1 on the ground. So he did a good job last year against Texas A&M, other than just that, of course, one play that we all know and reference. But again, we talked about motivation. I think he's going to have motivation to go in there. And it looks like, Joe, at least according to Sam Pittman today on the SEC teleconference, it's not like a confirmed thing, but it looks as though by what he was saying that Rocket Sanders will be back and ready to go in this game.
Oh, it's confirmed.
Yeah.
It's as good as Trey Biddy said it on Drive Time yesterday. He said, even though it hasn't been officially announced, Rocket is playing.
I love it. I miss that guy. I need him back. I love seeing him play and know the type of impact that he can have. And also just to have the threat of him more so than anything. I'm trying to remember what happened when it was. Oh, yeah, it was like the Nick Smith deal in basketball last year. It's like, that, I felt like that was a good element to have, at least as far as the threats go. But it's going to be the same thing where it's like, would I love Rocket to go in there and have 150 rushing yards? Of course. But it's also, when he's out there on the field, it's just a legit weapon that A&M's going to have to account for whenever he is on the field because they know what he's capable of. So,
yeah, you always have to be aware of the talent that's on the field. And even going into the game, if you feel like this player is somebody that's banged up and there's a chance that they don't play, you still have to plan and game plan as though they are going to play.
Oh, yeah. And that's luckily, I don't want to say luckily because I don't want to see everyone get hurt. But it is a benefit, at least, that it did come out today from Billy Lucci of Texags, where he reported that Connor Wegman's out through the year. Again, not wanting an injury, but at least now Arkansas is like, all right, no more of this. Ooh, is he not going to play? We know, so we can start game planning for Max Johnson. So that's at least a little bit of a benefit.
And Landon Jackson, I believe it was Landon Jackson, he was commenting about Connor and is it Wegman or Wayman? Because I think he called him Wayman.
Really?
Like Way.
Like Way? Huh.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Wegman.
Yeah.
But
that's how it's always been said, but I want to say he said Wayman.
Interesting. Well, I don't know. I think we have some clips from that. We'll have to play it and see if that's what he said. But if that's the case, then who knows? It's one of those things that we see all the time with players. They get called something that's not their name, and they're like, instead of correcting it, I just let it go. But I've always thought it was Wegman.
And it looks like Wegman.
Yeah.
That's what logically makes the most sense.
Right, because it's Weigman. I guess if you had an H, then it would make sense, but I don't know. Maybe that's how he read it. Let's go ahead and squeeze Navy Mike in. What's up, Navy?
Hey, what's up, John and Joe? Honestly, I thought it was like Weigman. Obviously, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to see that guy again for the rest of the year. But Max Johnson is a more than capable guy. I mean, the offense, honestly, I think kind of ran more smoothly under him than it did with Weigman for the first part of the game until he got hurt. So that's just my opinion, though. But obviously, Bobby Petrino's got that guy ready. Because you saw it, last Saturday. But I just saw that Dame Dollars just got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. That team is going to be filthy for the next 3-4 years now. And it's kind of ironic because they just fired Mike Buzenholzer because he didn't make it in the, it was kind of a disappointing finish, but yet they go and make this kind of move, obviously thinking, well, we got to get better on the court. But what did you fire him for? Then obviously he needed more to work with, but what's done is done. And this Adrian Griffin guy is going to have no excuses when it comes to, winning championships and getting to NBA finals, as a first-year head coach.
What that move does, Mike, is you want to try to keep Giannis in Milwaukee, and this is something that you're showing Giannis that you believe in winning, and you want to keep him.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to appease him. You got to show him that you're wanting to put stuff around him. And I mean, I don't know if it gets better than Dame Dollar. That man is lights out, and they should win a couple more while he's there. That'll be the expectation. But anyways, I'll give you guys comments on that whatnot, and y'all take care.
I appreciate it, Navy. Thanks for calling in. To go on to that, just to go through, it's a three-team deal that includes the Phoenix Suns as well as the Blazers and the Bucks. Apparently, Portland's going to receive Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, and Tumani Kamara, and also Milwaukee's 2029 unprotected first-round draft pick and unprotected Milwaukee swap rights in 2028 and in 2030. While the Suns will receive Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson.
Grayson Allen.
Yeah. I love that guy. The guy whose legs he just can't seem to get a hold of for whatever reason. Tripping everybody, kicking everybody.
And then the Suns, how about that? They were on board to get Andre Ayton and go ahead and call it a career there in Phoenix for him. Because there's been a lot of back and forth over the past couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't sound like I'm a Bucks fan because I do root for the Celtics, but it is cool because the Bucks are a team that I think is easy to root for. Giannis is a really likable guy. And, of course, Bobby Portis being up there in Milwaukee is a really cool thing. I'm sure that to add there to the pieces of possibly winning another NBA title and getting another ring for him. So that's really cool that he gets to be a part of it. Because I was kind of worried, like when I first heard you say it, I was like, oh, man, hopefully they didn't like trade away Bobby or something like that because I like him in Milwaukee. He seems like he's well liked, and I think it's a good fit.
He's a great piece of what they have going on.
Yeah. And I saw that ESPN put out a thing, I guess, I forgot which player it was in the NFL, but they said they did the Bobby Portis celebration where it was like doing the high kicks as they ran down the field. I was like, I didn't know Bobby was known for that, but then they showed both videos. I was like, okay, well, I guess that's a thing. So I was like, Bobby has a.
Oh, it was Jerick McKinnon from the Chiefs.
That's right. Yeah. Because I saw that. I was like, interesting. That's a cool thing that Bobby gets referenced like that. But I was like, I didn't even know that was his deal. But yeah, that was a pretty cool thing. We have to take a break, but when we come back, we'll get to what's trending in the world of sports presented by West Rock Coffee, some of the other headlines and storylines, and we'll keep it moving here on a wide open Wednesday. So stay with us here on Out of Bounds.
Gwatney Chevrolet in Jacksonville is going beyond the competition to change your current vehicle situation with Gwatney's exclusive loan and lease termination program.
I need your current payment, your keys, and your signature.
Call 501-982-2102 and say hasta la vista to your current ride and payment with the help of Gwatney's loan and lease termination program, regardless of your current financial situation.
I swear I will approve everyone.
Rates as low as 0% on new Chevrolets. Trade now and terminate your payments until 2024.
Get to Gwatney now.
The loan and lease termination program is this month only at Gwatney Chevrolet, 1301 TPY Drive in Jacksonville. Call 501-982-2102. GwatneyChevrolet.com. Chevrolet. Find new roads. All offers with approved credit. All voices are impersonators, but Gwatney's the real thing.
Shop Gwatney Chevrolet once, and you'll be back.
Justin Anker reminding you that CertaPro Painters is here to help you as we transition from summer into fall. And if you're thinking about doing something to the outside of your home, maybe it's long overdue, CertaPro Painters is here to help. Have them come over, give you an estimate, and they can help walk you through the process of what it'll take to get it done. They can help you out with the color selection and everything else you need to get the job done right. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. For your home, for your business, get your place looking right with the help of my friends at CertaPro Painters.
What's your Oaklawn?
Maybe it's lounging under a cabana at our sparkling pool, or unwinding with a massage at the luxurious Astral Spa. It could be dining in elegance, then hitting the casino for fun and high fives. And while you're here, you could explore thermal spas, dining and shopping on Bathhouse Row in Hot Springs National Park, just steps away from the resort. Discover your Oaklawn. Make reservations today at oaklawn.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Tune in to Out of Bounds each Monday for Reaction Monday, brought to you by Fleet Management Services. Serving Central Arkansas for over 20 years, they're your small to mid-sized fleet specialists. Fleet Management Services is looking for a maintenance tech, oil changes, tires, general maintenance. 100% paid health insurance, match 401k, paid holidays, paid vacation. The right person can make $600 per week. Call 501-375-3672.
At Edwards Food Giant, they know your family is important, and they also know that your time and convenience is as well. So why not take advantage of their heat and eat items in their deli department? Those famous Edwards Food Giant signature dishes with many of the same entrees and recipes that are served daily in the hot bar, all ready to take home and serve to your family tonight. And it can all be found at your favorite Central Arkansas Edwards Food Giant deli. This week's special is spaghetti for only $7.49 per pound, paired with seasoned green beans for just $4.49 per pound.
Erectile dysfunction is a very serious medical issue. It affects over 60% of men over 45. This can be caused from low testosterone, high blood pressure, diabetes, prostate issues, and high cholesterol. The staff at the Little Rock Men's Clinic are specialists in treating these issues. Our medical specialists will determine your specific problem and develop a treatment plan for your specific needs. Our treatments have helped thousands of men with a 96% success rate. Call the Little Rock Men's Clinic at 501-382-9516. For September, our office visit is only $79. That includes your exam, blood work, and testos. If our specialist can't prove to you that the treatment works, your office visit is absolutely free.
I am 58 years old. I have more energy, and I am performing like I am 21 again. I feel amazing.
Come to the Little Rock Men's Clinic. We treat low T, ED, Peyronie's disease, and offer a male enhancement procedure. Call the Little Rock Men's Clinic at 501-382-9516. That's 501-382-9516. Or visit littlerockmensclinic.com.
Same great deals, all new location for Hoggs Meat Market in North Little Rock at 3901 JFK Boulevard. Call them today at 501-758-7700 for all their specials at Hoggs Meat Market, the steak people. You're listening to Out of Bounds with John Nabors and Joe Franklin.
Complete, lots of room. Jaden Wilson's got a chance to go inside the 40, inside the 30, to the 20, to the 10. Touchdown, Arkansas. Touchdown, Arkansas. Isaac Tesla threw the home run block. Jaden Wilson scores the touchdown, and they're excited at War Memorial Stadium.
On 103.7 The Buzz.
If you're shopping for a vehicle, you want to get to Gwatney Chevrolet. Gwatney has the best deals in the market. Been doing it 60-plus years. Give them a call, 501-982-2102. Just a few days left in the month of September, going through Saturday, and we all know that getting by Gwatney Chevrolet towards the weekend, the end of the month, you're going to get an even better deal on top of the deals that Gwatney already has. But you want to take advantage of their loan and lease termination program by it being the end of the month, because we don't know if it'll be extended after September. So you have a few days to take advantage of it and let Gwatney help you get out of the vehicle that you don't want. Take advantage of no payments for the rest of the year at Gwatney Chevrolet. Great deals on Silverado, 0% financing with approved credit, and 2.1% is available on 2023 Equinox. For the loan and lease termination program, everyone is approved. So make sure you get by Gwatney Chevrolet. Make the trip to the Gregory Street exit in Jacksonville. Shop them online, GwatneyChevrolet.com. You can see all the deals, the cash allowances, the rebates, even appraise a vehicle. See just how much it's worth. They're giving thousands over book value, whether you trade that vehicle in or you sell it to Gwatney Chevrolet. Gwatney is always actively buying vehicles, so you get a great deal on the vehicle that you trade in or sell. See the entire inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles on GwatneyChevrolet.com. It's Gwatney Chevrolet, Arkansas's #1 Chevy dealer. Gwatney Chevrolet, GwatneyChevrolet.com.
It is a wide open Wednesday here on Out of Bounds, and we'll have what's trending in the world of sports here in just a second. But on our Southern Structural Solutions text line, Kit says, in Little Rock, Max Johnson's more of a threat than Wegman. Bobby Petrino's looking for opportunities to burn our corners. Watch for his creativity. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be. You're not. What was it? 23 points last year, and only 20 of those. They scored 2 touchdowns offensively. A&M. I think there's going to be more than that this year. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than what we saw last year or the year before.
That's how it lines up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah. Let's get Jake and Cabot in real quick before we do what's trending in the world of sports. What's up, Jake?
Hey, John. Hey, Freak. You guys doing all right today?
Doing good, Jake.
Doing great.
Hey, man. A couple things. Number one, I said all last week everybody was clamoring for KJ to get more design runs, and I said he does not need design runs. He needs to be KJ. You need to let him do his thing when the play breaks down. And that's what he did Saturday, and he almost won us the game. Anybody that's coming down hard on this kid is not watching football and doesn't know anything about it. KJ is an excellent quarterback. When he uses instinct and stuff, he's got great touch on the ball, especially the deep ball. Just let him keep doing that. Number two, I think the left-handed quarterback thing that your other caller had that's a valid deal, man. Figure out a way to bring in Pooh Paul from the blind side on every single play you can and disrupt that kid and just hammer him. Number three, I know everybody says Titania's not playing because he's not catching passes in practice. Matt Jones was famous for not being a good practice player. But when the lights went on, he got on the field, he made stuff happen. I'm thinking, give Titania a series in the slot and just see what he can do. If he or two. If he can, then okay, fine. But, I mean, right now, we need something. We need another spark on offense. Tesla's great. Haslam's great. I'm glad we're spreading it out. And Broden, that touchdown was awesome, too. We need this kid on offense. And we need this kid running wild with the ball. So, like to hear you guys' thoughts on that. As always, love the show. Go Hogs, man.
Jake, it is something that many people have said. They want to see Satania on the field more and see some of the explosive plays, the possibility of the explosive plays that he could bring to the field. But we're talking about two different positions when you're talking about a quarterback and skill position players and bringing it in practice and them wanting to see something. And then there's absolutely no truth to Matt Jones not being a good practice player, but you knew what he could do in the game. Mm-hmm. Matt Jones was always going to give effort, and he has a certain demeanor about him that doesn't look like, he's running a certain speed or really, his mindset is there. But as far as the effort was always there.
Yeah. And something about Matt, I mean, you can even, if you didn't even know what he was doing in practice and whatnot, you could just tell when he was out on the field and, talk about 7 overtimes, 6 overtimes, 7 overtimes in 3 straight years. I'm like, I think the effort was always there in those games for sure. Practices can, we weren't there, but he was always a guy that I think it was the demeanor that always made people confused.
Exactly. Because even in those games, people would say, okay, well, look at him on the sideline. He doesn't look like he has any energy. He's just laid back and but that has nothing to do with how you play when you're on the field. Now, it's one thing if you're playing bad and it looks like you're not giving effort on the field, and then you get off the field and that's your demeanor. But for somebody that's on the field and they're playing a certain way, who cares how they act on the sideline?
That's what I'm saying.
Like he's not that rah-rah type of person because he knows his ability. He knows what he can do.
If he performed, it does not matter. It's like what we talk about all the time with just personalities or people saying, oh, this guy's too hyped up or this guy. Are they performing? If they're performing, then it doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares if they're getting, over there punching the air or if they're just sitting there on the bench with their head down? If they're performing when the game's on the line, that's what matters the
most. People go about playing games in different ways. Some people like to trash talk, and some of those players, they back it up as far as they're the guys that are talking the most, but you can see that they have the ability on the field. Then you see players that don't trash talk, and they're the same type of highly talented, high-caliber players. Something about Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, there's a misconception with him that he was a big trash talker on the field, and this is something that came up recently with everything going on around him. And he said, he never talked trash to anybody on the field, and he didn't do it simply because that's not him as far as on the field. But he said, why would he have to talk trash when he's showing you through his play what he can do?
Yeah, because that's what should matter the most as far as anything is if you're performing or if you're playing at a high level. If you're trash talking or not trash talking, or if you have a loud, big personality or you don't, there's different ways to skin a cat and different ways to be successful in sports, as we've seen. So I've never understood that either. Real quick though, let's before we take a break, get to a few things and what's trending in the world of sports.
What's trending in the world of sports is sponsored by Arkansas-based West Rock Coffee. Join West Rock Coffee and their 1.5 million coffee farmers around the globe as they fuel Arkansas with great tasting coffee, tea, and water delivered directly to your business. Contact them at westrockcoffee.com or 833-886-JAVA today.
All right, a real quick few things on what's trending in the world of sports. We mentioned that Damian Lillard has been officially traded to the Milwaukee Bucks as part of a 3-team deal. So huge for Milwaukee and some of the strides they're making to get back into a championship level team. And today, officially, Michigan State has fired Mel Tucker for, quote, bringing ridicule to the program. I feel like what's been reported a few times, it's like, they're going to fire him. They're going to fire. But now it's official. They fired him. And they know there's going to be official responses there too. But that's the official statement, at least at this point in time. So, yes, he has been fired from Michigan State. Also, the Brewers clinching the NL Central last night, and also the Phillies clinching a wild card berth with a walk-off hit. And also, some news about Greg Brooks, the former Razorback but now current LSU player. Brian Kelly has said that he is progressing. He is on the road to recovery. He is doing better, but still a long process ahead of him. So that's what's trending in the world of sports. We will take a top of the hour update when we come back. Pat Bradley will be joining us thanks to Motorsports Authority. It's going to be a lot of fun, so don't you miss the second or out of bounds because it's coming up next.
Get in the zone with Justin Acree and Wes Moore every day from 10 to 1, live from the Oakwan Racing Casino Resort Studios on 103.7 The Buzz.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese. He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe and a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
See Shelter agents Brian Kress or Caleb Green in North Little Rock, or in Brinkley, see agent Hunter Cornelison.
You know that crushing feeling when you click print on your PC and the doggone machine just won't print? Well, I fix that. Hello, my name's Tim Stanley. I'm the new owner of Business World, a TDS IT company. We're an IT company with a long history in the imaging channel, and I fix the printer conflict by using my Arkansas-based IT help desk. Call us at 501-374-7000 for more details on how a true IT managed services company running your business will keep all your printers and scanners up and running all the time.
103.7 The Buzz.
By the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
KABZ Little Rock. Buzz News with Channel 7's Brian Houston.
Arkansas State Police have identified the man who was killed Sunday when a state trooper used a pit maneuver to end a high-speed chase in southwest Little Rock. 32-year-old Byron Brown lost his life around 9:30 Sunday night when a state trooper crashed his car on I-30 at the Stanton Road overpass. The trooper had initially tried to pull Brown over after noticing his 2006 BMW had fake tags, but Brown sped off and tried to elude authorities at what they say were speeds of up to 120 miles an hour. 20-year-old Darmel Bateman Jr. was arrested Tuesday afternoon on I-30. He was driving a Dodge Charger when police flagged in for an intelligence bulletin out of Oklahoma. Bateman was charged with manslaughter and second-degree battery on September 13th for a fatal car accident that killed an 84-year-old. 3 days later, he and 7 other suspects were arrested on gun and drug charges in downtown Tulsa. From the Channel 7 newsroom, I'm Ryan Houston.
Know about bass tournaments and some of the best fishing spots in the state? Well, tune in to Fishing Arkansas Sunday mornings with Big Sarge and his crew. Fishing Arkansas is presented by Fletcher Auto Group, Shelter Insurance agent Jamie Marsh, Stanley Hardware, and Cooper's Nursery in Cabot. Fishing Arkansas every Sunday morning from 8:30 to 10 on 103.7 The Buzz.
Weather from the Fletcher Weather Center with Channel 7's Melinda Mayo.
We're going to stay very warm and dry for the next several days. Mostly sunny. Today's high around 94 degrees. Tonight's low drops down to the upper 60s. Low to mid 90s expected all the way through the weekend and into early next week. From the Channel 7 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Melinda Mayo.
Fletcher Dodge wants to buy your car. We'll buy any make or model, and we'll pay you more than anyone else. Please turn your old car into cash at Fletcher Dodge in Sherwood.
Listen for NFL Hall of Fame referee Walt Coleman Wednesdays during Morning Mayhem, presented by Sigma Supply Packaging Products. Schedule a free waste audit analysis with Sigma Supply's sales manager, David Breitenberg, and see if automation is a solution to your production line issues. Online at sigmasupply.com. If you're not using Sigma Supply, you got low-grade product, man.
Willie D's Rock and Roll Piano Bar open every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Cold drinks and dueling pianos. Deep Nightclub downstairs hosts karaoke on Tuesdays and DJ spin on Friday and Saturday nights. Visit WillieD'sPianoBar.com.
It's the Can-Am Motorcycle Sales Event, now through September 30th at Bradford Marine and ATV statewide locations. Come check out the Can-Am Ryker motorcycle and discover performance and comfort when you hit the open road. Save thousands with in-store discounts and get financing as low as 1.99%. Fall riding season is here, so get the best prices of the year on your new Can-Am Ryker motorcycle from Bradford Marine and ATV. Visit BradfordMarine.com today. Non-current models only. Always ride responsibly and safely.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day, and they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
And now try Babbel free. Text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
And ESPN Radio Extra Point with Chris Carlin.
Deion's actions in what he says, opening up the players to getting hit with cheap shots, to getting hit out of bounds, to getting shots that wouldn't necessarily happen during games because because those teams are so fired up to take out their frustrations on you because you're getting all of the attention and you're running your mouth before the game. You're really putting your teams in harm's way quite a bit. And it's dangerous, and it's something that is not being talked about enough here. And I would think something that really has to be a big concern for Deion when he tells Travis Hunter, I'm not worried about you in this game this week. I care about you a lot more than I care about this game. And I believe Deion when he says that, but there is this negative side to it that's not being talked about.
At the Home Depot, Saturdays are about 2 things: getting projects done right with Behr Premium Plus interior paint
And football.
That's right, Kirk Herbstreit. And with Behr's wall-to-wall coverage and long-lasting durable finish, you'll spend less time worrying about your walls,
Which means more time for football.
for football. Upgrade your Saturday with Behr and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Yo, 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 what's up, party people? I'm Julie Foudy. And I'm Lynn Ozawi. We host the ESPN podcast Laughter Permitted, where we have candid chats with trailblazing women in sports and beyond.
We've talked with goats like Billie Jean King, Simone Biles, Mia Hamm, Sue Bird, Candace Parker, Michaela Schifrin, just to name a few.
So grab a donut or 500 and check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And a huge shout out to our presenting sponsor, Ally, who has supported us since day one. Laughter Permitted.
Live from the Hoggs Meat Market Studios, this is Out of Bounds.
I think both quarterbacks are very talented. Max Johnson has started games his freshman year, sophomore year, and now this year. So, I'm excited to play him. He's another guy I was teammates with at LSU. He could throw really well on the run. So that's something we're preparing to do is keep him in the pocket. So, that, and then Connor Wayman, if he's able to play, he's a really talented quarterback as well.
Yeah. With John Nabors.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
And Joe Franklin.
We won't go in the shell. We won't go in attack mode because that's what's required.
On 103.7 The Buzz.
I know that it's good. Won't you sit it on my taste buds? I get way too petty once you let me do the extras. Pull up on your block and break it down. We playing Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM phone. Eat up your per diem. You just gotta hate them phone. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes phone. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest phone. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Tell them be humble. Sit down. 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 Who that thinking that he frontin' on?
1 hour down, 2 hours to go. Appreciate everybody listening in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. John Nabors, Joe Franklin, broadcasting live from the Hoggs Meat Market Studios with you today. And thank you as always for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. It has been a fun-filled show here on a wide open Wednesday. So we've been talking a lot of things, especially Razorbacks and Texas A&M. And it's amazing some of the comments we got of why Arkansas always loses this game or why they struggled against Texas A&M in this game down there in Arlington. But it's going to be a fun trip, though. I know a lot of Razorback fans are going to be down there. We, as the Buzz, are going to be down there as well. So want to let everybody know that we'll be broadcasting live on Friday from Boomer Jacks down there in Arlington next to Cowboy Stadium. So if you're in the area on Friday, Morning Mayhem's going to be there. Out of Bounds is going to be there. Drive Time's going to be there. So be on the lookout for that and come on out and see us. And, of course, we want to thank some of our sponsors, Coffin by Design West, Gwatney Chevrolet, Gwatney Buick GMC, as well as Lion Legal, Malvern National Bank, Blackman Auctions, Arkansas Scholarship Lottery, just one of the many sponsors that have helped us make this trip possible for us to go down there and give you some great Razorback coverage. And rumor has it that for the pregame and the postgame show for Razorback Sports, or at least the Razorback football game, we're going to be streaming live on video once again. So for those of you who have not subscribed to the YouTube page for 103.7 The Buzz, I encourage you to do so, because not only will you have the pregame show live at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, you'll also have the fifth quarter show being live streamed from Boomer Jacks there on video as well. So we look forward to seeing how all that plays out. On our Southern Structural Solutions text line, though, we do have a few people that's been chiming in, and this comes from JK in Fairfield Bay. It says that coach for Oregon fire speech. I wonder if Pittman has that kind of fire about the Hogs program. I think he does, just because he doesn't make a fiery speech like that, which I think you've seen evidence of Sam Pittman getting fired up and having some speeches like that. But just because it's not filmed all the time doesn't mean that's not the case. But listen, again, there's different ways to coach. There's different ways to approach the game as a coach and as a player. And it all comes down to wins and losses. It doesn't matter about if they're on social media or not. It doesn't matter about how they look or how they sound or how well they do in a press conference. Wins and losses are the only thing that matters. And honestly, if a coach isn't winning, I don't care about anything of the other stuff. That's what matters the most. But I appreciate those comments too. A few of the things, though, people said as to why Arkansas has struggled in this game against Texas A&M and why they've struggled to beat them in Arlington. A few people have given their responses, and some of them have been pretty humorous, I will admit. High on the Hogs just says the inability to finish the job is probably the biggest example of it, or at least the most correct example of it. And then also Derek says mistakes, holding penalties, taking back a touchdown, kicking off to a guy at the end of the game, which we shouldn't have. Turnovers that flip the game around when we are up. Usually when you're up by 14 points, we always find a way to lose. Yeah, that was always my thing in these games. Seeing the skipper tripper play, which that was in 2014, Jonathan Williams just broke off this huge run, and Arkansas was about to punch it in for another touchdown. They would have gone up 21 points and, in my opinion, would have won that game. but they called a phantom tripping penalty that no one saw and they had no replay of it. And I still don't believe was actually tripping. So that happened. Brett Bielema deciding, oh, don't worry, we'll kick off to one of the most explosive players in all of college football, and Christian Kirk, and I'm sure he won't do anything about it. Well, he did. He returned it for a touchdown, and that was the difference in that game. We know about what happened last game and the last time these two teams met, the frustrations that came from that. So there's just a lot of things that have happened in these particular matchups that has made it extremely frustrating. And, I just don't want it to happen again here, even though I've got my heart ready to accept it no matter what. But something weird is going to happen, and it's going to be really frustrating to see. Also, Blake says, payback from us talking too much trash in the first era of the Southwest Classic than the curse for hiring Chad Morris. Well, I think that's probably less to do with this game in particular. And, talking trash. I mean, everybody was talking. You always talk trash when you win over another SEC team. That's just what you do. So I don't expect them to be anything different. And finally, Matt says, 95% of the time we lose games is because we have the inability to close them out, whether it's failing to make halftime adjustments or just making too many mistakes or shooting ourselves in the foot. We always seem to give it away in the second half, and the other 5% is because of Alabama. Well, I guess that's part of it too. So, we'll keep those responses coming in and seeing, but it's definitely a frustrating game nonetheless that Razorback fans. It's funny because A&M fans don't want to play in Arlington. They don't want to play at AT&T Stadium anymore. And I even think Arkansas fans are kind of like over it at the point too. But I don't know if I think Razorback fans would be more about it if the roles were reversed and Arkansas had won 10 out of the last 11 games. Like they'd be like, yeah, we love this game. It's our favorite game of the year. But that's not the case.
It'd be the home away from home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's call it Razorback Stadium South. Is what they'd be rolling in with it. But it's this year and then next year, and then we'll see what the rest of the thing holds. I just have a hard time believing Jerry Jones isn't going to have his Razorbacks playing in his stadium in some capacity. I don't know if it'll be every year or whatnot, but Jerry's going to make sure his team is there. That's what he wants to see somehow, some way. But it's amazing how it all like if you think about when this contract was signed, that was supposed to be Arkansas's non-conference game for 10 straight years. That's a Power 5 opponent because that was the rule in the SEC. So if A&M hadn't joined the SEC, you would have never ended up playing. I think it was Rutgers. I don't think you would have ended up playing TCU or even you're supposed to play Michigan, but that game got canceled. So you wouldn't have been playing them or Notre Dame. Like you wouldn't have had all these other non-conference games that you would have been up against. A&M would have been it for the rest of the time, and you still would have been playing South Carolina. But instead, they joined the SEC, and it changed everything. And that's why I think both of these teams are ready to get out of there so they can start having some conference games at home in their stadiums where they've had recent renovations.
Have those official visits, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a big part of it for recruiting purposes. Now, it does give you some kind of recruiting deal where you can say, hey, we play at AT&T Stadium. We play in this really nice stadium every year for a game. It's an annual game. But if you want those official visits to be able to get the players on campus, that's the way to go.
Yeah. And I think it makes the most sense for both teams to move on from it too. But that's where you gotta figure out how to win a game like this, or to at least win games against any SEC opponent. But when it's a neutral site or neutral field like this one is, there are some advantages, some disadvantages, but at the end of the day, you still got to find a way to close out the game. You still got to find a way to win. But keep those coming. TP also says, when are we ever going to use the screen pass to the tailback that you promised us from Enos? I never promised anything from Enos. I was just saying that he does run screens a lot more, which he has run a lot more screens. And some of them have been successful. In fact, the first play of the season that went for a touchdown, a big touchdown from Jaden Wilson, was technically a screen pass, with Tesla having the block on the outside and him taking it to the distance. But as far as the running backs go, I think that's part of that plan was Rocket Sanders being that guy, being the one that will take it to the distance and be the best player out of the screen pass, because he did play wide receiver in high school. He has great hands. So I think that's a big part of it, is he was going to be in that screen game a lot more. But since he's been injured, he hasn't been able to do it as much. So maybe we'll see some of it this weekend, assuming that Rocket Sanders is going to end up playing, which I think everybody is hopeful for. And this will be, knock on wood, the healthiest Arkansas has entered into the Texas A&M game, it feels like, where, if you get, assuming Rocket is at full health, the rest of the guys out there into the mix are pretty healthy. In fact, when we had Josh Braun on yesterday, he even said that this is the best he has felt after a game, as far as health-wise goes, than what he did in the first 3 games. So, yeah, Arkansas is going to be healthy. A&M losing their starting quarterback is important, but not the end of the world for them. They'll still find ways to try to be somewhat successful with him into the mix. But you can't take anything for granted, especially in this game. Like, none of the rest of it matters. Like, I don't care who's hurt. I don't care if it's the starting quarterback or their best wide receivers or whatnot. It doesn't matter because A&M, there's a reason why they've had like a top 5 recruiting class for the past 5 years straight. They got plenty of depth.
Yes, they really do. And there's been a lot of talk about NIL and transfer portal with them and some extra benefits that may have come about for them to be able to get players on campus. But that's part of it now. And, for teams and people on the outside, that becomes more of kind of an excuse. If A&M does get it going in the right direction and they're good, then that's what people want to point to say, well, this is why. And to say that, there's something going on there with them, but we haven't seen it from them to this point to even go that direction. But it was already put out there just ahead of time to say, hey, if A&M happens to go 11-1 or they're in the mix for college football playoff, there were people that were pointing fingers at them.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, I don't think it should matter of how any team gets to the point to when they win championships. And, if it's within the framework of the rules, who cares? Listen, if Arkansas was in the case of buying and paying for a recruiting class or, spending $25 million, whatever that rumor was, or whatever that report was that A&M spent, and it led to them being successful, then I don't think any Razorback fan is going to complain about the rules or about what they're doing. You're going to be successful. I want to be successful no matter what. Like, you want to win no matter what, at all cost. Like, even ask the teams that got in trouble. Think like USC. That championship year that they had with Reggie Bush and all them, they got vacated by the NCAA because they were doing something wrong. I think those USC fans say, you know what? It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth going against the rules there of the NCAA. That year was not worth it. No, they won. That's what you want to do.
Everybody saw what happened on the field. Now, even though, certain things have been discussed after the fact and vacating or whatever it may be, everybody still knows what those results are. So that's never going to be erased. That's never going to go away from what people saw actively happen on the field.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. Is like, I just don't understand why anybody would, I'm not saying go full-fledged cheating. I'm not saying that. But during that time span, especially, if it led to a championship and then they vacated the wins or whatnot, you still remembered the season. In fact, I would bet dollars to donuts if you put out a poll question, be like, hey, if Arkansas won the national championship in football this year, but then 2 years from now got the wins vacated, would you take that? I think everybody would say yes. Yes.
There'd be a few people that would say, nah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, well, it's worth it to me.
Not worth the attention, the negative attention maybe that it would bring to the program. Some people would say that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not one of those people. I will fully admit it. I am not one of those people. So we're having some issues with our phones, but we'll have to catch up with Pat Bradley at a different time. So we'll have to look forward to catching up with him. Thanks to Motorsports Authority. But I did want to bring this up too. With all the attention that's been paid to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and that whole fiasco or phenomenon, however you want to look at it, over the weekend. This was a comment that was put out by Travis Kelce, reportedly put out by Travis Kelce, where he says, I brought all this attention to me. I did the whole friendship bracelet thing and told everyone how butthurt I couldn't meet her, and you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. What's real is that it is my personal life, and I want to respect both of our lives. She's not into the media like I am, doing this show every single week and having fun during the NFL season on other guys' shows. And any other show I go on from here on out, I'm enjoying life, and I sure as hell enjoyed the weekend. And so everything moving forward, me talking about sports and saying, all right, nah, is kind of going to be where I have to keep it with me and Taylor.
Is she not into the media?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like,
now, as far as doing certain interviews, like, you don't necessarily see her doing much of that. So maybe that's the point that he's making. And he's trying to take some pressure off her, where every time she's in public, then somebody wants to stick a mic in her face. So, you get it from that standpoint. And then he is somebody that does a podcast on a weekly basis. And so he is sitting in front of an open mic and he's doing interviews during game week, leading up to a game, post game. So to his point, he does have a mic and a camera in his face more so than she does on a regular basis. And also, she has a break from touring right now. And so maybe, still trying to relieve some pressure there, where she's about to go back on this massive tour, and she needs a clean break at this point, and she doesn't need to be asked at every moment what's going on with them.
Yeah. Well, and I think that with, Taylor Swift has come to the point to where it's almost like, I'm not saying Travis Kelce needs the media or needs his podcast, but it is a way to continue to build his brand and expand, people who know him and listen to him. It's just a different format. But it's like, I feel like Taylor Swift has gotten to the point where she doesn't have to do anything as far as like doing interviews or, doing podcasts or whatnot. She can, and she probably does, but she's just almost a larger than life personality. It's kind of like, hey, I'm over here. I'm doing this stuff because I like doing it. I enjoy it. But it's like now he realizes because he's involved so much with that, everywhere he's go, he's going to be asked about it. He's going to be asked about it. Press conferences after the game, even if they win or lose, going to be asked about it. So
she's rumored to do the Super Bowl every year, and she's going to be rumored to do it every year. We just got the announcement that Usher is doing the Super Bowl halftime, but until that happens, where she does the Super Bowl halftime performance, she's going to be rumored to do it every year.
So where is the Super Bowl again this year?
Vegas.
That's right, man. That's
so it's fitting that Usher is doing it because he has a residency in Vegas.
Yeah, that would make sense. Is it, I guess him and, was it Britney Spears that's in Vegas, I think? She lives over there. Oh,
yeah, there are a few people. Carrie Underwood.
Yep, Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood's big. And I think it's like Dolly Parton, just like random ones that are out there hanging out in Vegas, being a part of it too. But yeah, no, the point is with the Kelce and Taylor Swift thing. I at least, respect Travis Kelce in the way of he understands. He's got self-awareness of like, hey, I brought this on myself. It's what we do.
Well, he knew that ahead of time.
Yeah.
He's putting that out there just to make a statement to everybody else. He knew that ahead of time.
Right. It's just like I appreciate the fact that he's like, and I know it's different circumstances, and I'm not trying to bring in the royal family in it, but it's kind of like when the whole Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, or whatever, they're always like, hey, respect our privacy. I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff y'all brought on yourself to where people are really interested in it, and because of who you are and what you do. It's like in this particular case, it's like Travis Kelce's like, hey, I get it. Like, I know that this is something I'm going to have to deal with. I'm welcoming to it. It's not like I'm saying how y'all need to respect our privacy. It's like, what comes with the territory, but he's saying, hey, this, anytime it gets brought up, the all right, nah, as he said, he's like, we're just gonna have to leave it at that. I got to focus on football still.
Yeah,
still trying to win.
He made a statement, and that's where he wants to leave it. So he's putting that out there. Stop asking.
Yeah. By the way, I thought about you, Joe, this morning because when I was looking at ESPN's headlines that they had, the headline itself on ESPN.com is talking about when Travis Kelce said this, and the headline says, Kelce, win went all too well with Taylor in crowd. It's like, y'all got to stop. You got to relax, man.
Because they were doing more of the last night, though. It was on Sports Center once again, where they just kept dropping titles of her songs, and it's like, okay, it's been done, it's been overdone, it's played out, it's over. Stop doing it.
Mm-hmm. They're not going to. They're going to beat that dead horse, man, and it's just going to keep on happening because they feel like. I mean, because listen, it's brought a lot of attention that from an audience that maybe normally wouldn't care about the NFL or watch the NFL or anything like that. But we were having some fun with it on the zone. I even saw something that I forgot which team it was, but there was a college team that was selling jerseys with it was a red team. I'm gonna have to look it up, but it was number 87.
Was it Cincinnati?
It may have been Cincinnati, actually. I remember the jersey was red, so it may have. I think like maybe they were one of the alternates are red. Could have been. I'll have to look it up. But anyways, it was an 87 jersey and it was red, but it said Swift on the back. So that way, you're not taking anyone's likeness or all that.
Yeah.
And apparently, it was selling like hotcakes. I'm like, man, that's something that mails. Like, if you're like Arkansas or like Alabama or like one of these teams that got a red, and you just make the number 87 and put Swift on the back and sell it. You're not using anyone's name, image, and likeness.
That's funny.
And how many. I'm just going out on
if you were using somebody's NIL, like you make them a part of that,
right?
And of course they get a percentage of it, so that'd be a good way to go about doing it.
Yeah, just make some more money with it. Because I don't want to speak for all of the ladies out there in the state of Arkansas who are Razorback fans, but I guarantee you that if the Arkansas Razorbacks came out with a number 87 Razorback jersey with the name Swift on the back, and you're a Taylor Swift fan, I bet you they would sell like hotcakes. So we're trying to help out the merchandising up there. Like Hogman's Game Day. I know they do a lot of stuff with us. Get on that. See if you can make that work. Because I guarantee you there'll be a lot of a lot of people that would want to buy that. Not just girls, I think guys would. I have some friends of mine that would probably buy that stuff.
Yeah, that's going a little bit too far.
Trust me, I know, because they go too far with their love for Taylor Swift too. Like they do it just way too much. Also from the Asher Record Live fan feedback, this comes from Mike Vick says, John, I think Taylor is an operative, influenced the NFL and its viewers for the upcoming election, and Kelsey is her operative to push her in her party strategies. Wow, okay, Mike Vick, that's a conspiracy beyond all belief. I think it's probably just two people with a huge following that are dating together, and that's kind of what the way of media in Hollywood is.
Now this jersey, was it not just the Chiefs jersey with Swift on it?
No, because that's why I thought it was so interesting.
You can get that one custom made for sure.
Ooh, see, then some I'm guaranteed that's already been made. No, because it was like a darker red. I'm gonna look it up. I was seeing it this morning. I think it was on Instagram, and I was scrolling through. But yeah, I'll have to look it up. But anyways, I thought I was like, that's pretty brilliant.
Because you can get an NFL jersey custom made and put whatever name you want to put on it.
Oh yeah. I guarantee you, they said Kelsey's jersey's gone up 400%. I'm sure the number 87 Chiefs jersey customization's probably gone up.
You know what's interesting about that is Jason Kelsey had the highest selling jersey amongst women, like within the past year. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because they talked to him. On New Heights podcast, they talked about that when Kylie Kelsey, his wife, was on there.
Yeah,
they talked about the fact that Jason Kelsey had the highest selling jersey amongst women in the NFL, in the entire NFL.
Man, and that's something to be proud of. But we got to take a break. When we come back, get to hear from David Nuno of TexAgs.com, and we'll keep it moving on a Wide Open Wednesday. Stay with us.
For interior, exterior, commercial, and residential painting, hire the pros at Serta Pro Painters. Get your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Serta with a C.
This is Sports Center.
Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, Baltimore Orioles legend, and Little Rock native Brooks Robinson passed away at the age of 86. He made his debut in 1955 and played third base for the Orioles for the next 23 seasons. He was an 18-time All-Star, a 2-time World Series champion, a 1-time World Series MVP, and a 1-time AL MVP, winning it in 1964. Also during that time, he won 16 consecutive Gold Gloves at third base. His 16 Gold Gloves are the most ever by a non-pitcher, and tied with Jim Cott for second most among any player, first being Greg Maddux with 18. And the Arkansas Travelers forced a decisive Game 3 in the Texas League Championship Series as they beat the Amarillo Sod Poodles 6-5 last night. Game 3 will be tonight. First pitch is set for 7:05. Coverage can be heard on 106.7 Buzz 2. I'm Christian Weaver with the Buzz Radio Network.
I know the last 3 years, people have got accustomed to paying sticker price for a brand new vehicle. Well, it's not that way anymore at Red River Ram. If you're looking for a new Ram truck, we've got heavy-duty four-wheel drive trucks starting at $49,500 or up to $12,000 off sticker price for a Cummins diesel. And we've got $11,000 off Ram 1500 Bighorn four-wheel drive trucks. If you want the best selection and the best buying experience, make that beautiful drive right here to Heber Springs. Now during Ram Power Days.
Razorback legend Darren McFadden joins Morning Mayhem on 103.7 The Buzz each week this football season to give his insights on what's happening in the world of football. DMAC is brought to you by Oak Lawn Sports and Rideout Lumber.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rumors are true. Your favorite sports bar is coming to North Little Rock. Brewski's is proud to announce a second location is coming to the Lakewood Shopping Center, and it won't be too long where you can get the same great pub grub, happy hour specials, and late night fun when it comes to North Little Rock. Voted the #1 sports bar in Little Rock for the last 4 years to catch all the games all year long. Get ready, North Little Rock. Brewski's North is coming soon. Brewski's, you're home for lunch, happy hour, and late night.
RJ Hawk here with Chris Roberts from Southern Bank. And Chris, I know interest rates are high right now. That's what everybody's talking about. But if you're thinking about a project, whether it be a commercial project or you want to build a house, now's the time to come talk to you about what those future plans may look like.
You know, RJ, no matter what the business environment may be, we're always there to sit down with our customers and talk about their future plans and what's going on with their businesses.
And that's one thing about Southern Bank is they're a community bank. They want to be your partner.
Partnering with our customers is a key to how we do business.
And Chris, you know, we talk about those interest rates being high, but the one good news out of that is deposit rates.
We have some great CD and checking account rates just give us a call and see what one of our personal bankers can do for you.
If you want more information about interest rates or those deposit rates that we just talked about, call Chris and his team today at 501-424-0900 or go online at bankwithsouthern.com. Southern Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We're back with Wild Bill at Motorsports Authority. Great selection here on the lot, but what about my trade-in, Wild Bill?
We'll trade for just about anything as long as you don't have to feed it. We'll put top dollar in that trade. I'm getting country fried crazy during this sale right now, and I'll tell you what, folks, it's a lot of fun to do business with us. So if you're wanting top dollar for your trade, you need to come see us.
You can check out the complete selection online at msastore.com. Better yet, come see us in Russellville on East Main and Hot Springs on Central. You better get down here to Motorsports Authority.
Touchdown!
Don't miss this trade day event at Zeddy's, sponsored by Home Team Heroes, on September 30th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Join us for a day filled with games, food, exciting giveaways, slab packs, and more. Learn about Home Team Heroes, the unique experience that's taking the collecting world by storm. Mark your calendar and head over to Zeddy's, located at 146 West South Street in Benton. The trade day event is on September 30th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Don't miss out on this exciting opportunity to trade and connect with fellow collectors.
Fire up the grill this summer with the highest quality of meats from Hoggs Meat Market and their new location off JFK Boulevard in North Little Rock. Hoggs Meat Market, the steak people. You're listening to Out of Bounds with John Nabors and Joe Franklin.
Y'all better put him in the Heisman. You better put him up there. I'm tired of him being number 3, number 4.
We got that wood right here, baby.
Somebody better look at this guy. He's the best football player in the country, and his name's not being mentioned. Lou Holtz, Mark May. Number 5, you better look at him a little closer. He's a football player.
On 103.7 The Buzz.
Ain't got no money, no fancy car, ain't got no excuses, babe. Hanging out the bar. I don't know you a thing, babe. I don't know you a thing. I don't know you a thing, babe. I don't know you a thing. Well, we ain't getting married. I ain't buying you no diamond ring. That's alright. Ain't got no credit. No fancy clothes, ain't got no excuses, babe, for goodness knows. I don't know you a thing, babe, I don't know you a thing. I don't know you a thing, babe, I don't know you a thing. Well, we ain't getting married, I ain't buying you no diamond ring. That's alright, yeah, baby.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports betting app. Bet Saracen is as close to your cell phone. Just go to the App Store and download the Bet Saracen app or go to betsaracen.com. Bet Saracen has all the sports you want to wager on. They have in-game prop bets, specials, double R props. Anything you need, it's on the Bet Saracen app. Arkansas, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is favored by 6.5, and the over-under is 54.5. Arkansas State taking on UMass. UMass is a 1.5-point favorite. Over-under there is 55.5. Tomorrow night for Thursday Night Football, Lions taking on Packers. Lions are a 1.5-point favorite, and the over-under is 46. Those are some of the lines that you can get on Bet Saracen, but you can get much more. So go to the Bet Saracen app for the most accurate and up-to-date sports wagering info. You need to be on the Bet Saracen app. It's simple. Just go to the App Store, download the Bet Saracen app, or go to betsaracen.com. Be sure to check out the video of how to play featuring Jancy Sheets. Bet Saracen was just named 14th best sports betting app in the country. So they're doing big things at Bet Saracen.
It is a wide open Wednesday here on Out of Bounds, and we had a chance to catch up with David Nuno of TexAgs.com earlier this afternoon and doing a little preview of what to expect, especially with the big news of Connor Wegman being out for this game. So let's go ahead and hear from David Nuno. Right now, let's go to the phone lines as we welcome in a very special guest, a guy who knows all about Texas A&M, as it is the Southwest Classic this weekend in Arlington between Arkansas and Texas A&M. And it is David Nuno of TexAgs.com. And David, it's good to talk to you again, man. How's everything going this afternoon?
How's my friendly neighbor doing? How's my buddy?
Hey, listen, things could always be better in Razorback land, but we know that that's just par for the course. But I want to ask you about Texas A&M specifically, because we know that this was a big year. There's a lot of pressure on Jimbo. Bobby Petrino is coming in. Just at this point in time of the season, how are fans feeling? Do they still feel optimistic at all? Are they pessimistic? Are they still in wait and see mode? Just what's the vibe like in College Station?
Well, the breaking news that came out earlier today, everybody's panicking, but also it is a more optimistic panic than I've seen in years past. Connor Wegman done for the year. It's going to be out at least 3.5 months. Unfortunately, not that we expected him to play this weekend against Arkansas, but the fact that you're not getting that guy back, your QB1, the guy that's supposed to be the savior, does hurt a lot. But those of us who have seen Max Johnson play at LSU and lost to Max Johnson at LSU, saw what he was able to do last year and what he did in relief this past week against Auburn, feel pretty good about the quarterback situation moving forward. Obviously, you'd want to have, Connor for the long haul, but a very good guy in Max Johnson. So when you talk about the totality of the season, like they've had 2 tests this year, 2 real tests. They failed the first test, at least from a defensive standpoint, when they got embarrassed against Miami. They couldn't make any tackles. The next test was Auburn, and you could say Auburn wasn't a real test, but Auburn was a team with a legit defense and a team that beat you last year, and you took it to them. You were much better than the score indicated, 27-10. You were better than that. And I think, especially the way you played the second half with Max Johnson, does spike some optimism. All that being said, it doesn't matter until you start going through the grind that is SEC schedule. And I don't want to say it starts this weekend, but this is the first real test since Miami. I know Auburn was a test, but a different weight class. You're taking on KJ Jefferson, a guy who can beat anybody, who can sling it, who's done it all. It's going to be a real test for this Aggie defense.
So just looking at the matchup itself, how do you feel with Arkansas and A&M? Because we know that this game has the stupidest things that happen all the time, it seems like, against Arkansas, but A&M usually is the one that wins the game. But just as far as the matchup itself, offensively, defensively, how do you feel like the Aggies match up with the Razorbacks?
Well, look, I have a lot of respect for Sam Pittman and KJ, right? KJ Jefferson is an elite quarterback. And if it wasn't for a brain fart, if you will, or a mistake, that game would have gotten out of hand real quick last year. That opened the door for A&M, and they were able to capitalize. I guess the way I look at it is, defensively, this is the best A&M defense we've seen in the last couple of years. Offensively, you feel really good about the wide receivers. You beat them last year in your worst year in forever, right? So I feel good, but I also know what they're capable of doing out there. And of course, I saw that Sam Pittman said on the teleconference today that he feels pretty confident about Rocket Sanders. Well, of course he's going to be available for the A&M game. We've been kind of predicting that for weeks. So look, I feel good about this game from an A&M perspective, considering the fact that you lost your starting quarterback, but you have a guy who's really good. And I think this is a game A&M should have with all the talent that they have. But, this is a crazy series. And in a way, I'm a little more worried because I do think Arkansas, even though it's only the second SEC game of the schedule, is playing for their season this weekend because we know what's ahead for them, right? It is a tough grind for Arkansas. You don't want to get your third straight loss, especially 2 straight in the SEC to start things off when you had some high aspirations this year.
So, David, I know that the Petrino angle has been such a big storyline in here in Arkansas. There's a lot of fans that are always interested in the Petrino angle because he used to coach here. Just how do you feel like he's done as the offensive coordinator? Has there been some major differences and some major improvements in the offense overall since he took over as OC?
Well, look, this team scores now, right? Last year they were scoring 22 points a game. This team is moving the ball. The thing I've been most impressed with is the halftime adjustments because in both major tests that we talked about earlier, the game against Miami and the game against Auburn, the offense was kind of average in the first half, right? It was just, there. The A&M scored 10 early points against Miami. They scored 6 early points against Auburn, but 2 field goals. They weren't really moving a lot. Connor wasn't as effective, and then he gets hurt. You look at the second half, they move the ball. They make some great halftime adjustments. And that's what I really loved about the Bobby Petrino hire is that he finds areas where he can expose opposing teams at halftime. And we've seen it on a couple different occasions. And if A&M does struggle, if they've scored on their first couple drives all season long, but if they struggle to get, instead of getting 7, they get 3, look for him to open it up a little bit more in the second half.
So, David, also looking at this game itself, we've already talked about kind of how crazy this series is, but the fact it's in Arlington, it looks like there's only going to be this year and then next season, and then it goes back to being a home and home. Do you think that there'll be a lot of Aggie fans still traveling for this game, still have a good attendance, or are they just kind of over this whole game? Because there's a lot of Razorback fans who are kind of over it as well.
That's one of the things I was going to actually prop Arkansas fans about. I've only gotten to go to 2 of these games. I was at a previous job before Texas where I didn't cover this series. And I'm always impressed with how loud the Arkansas fans are at that game, like loud, and also how well they travel. I think most fans are ready for it to be a campus series, but there is a charm. Look, I see Jimbo actually talked about it this past week. There is a benefit if your team thinks that they can be playing in these big bowl games and potentially a playoff team as it expands. There is a advantage to having a neutral site games in those kind of environments. So I think there is a plus to it. But when it comes to SEC games, I like those games being played at home. I think A&M fans, but remember, you got a lot of Aggie fans in Dallas already, and it's not a far drive from College Station, 3 hours. So I would expect it to be, especially since this team, they don't have the App State loss on their resume this year. They have a Miami loss and a Miami team and an ACC that looks to be pretty good this year.
So, David, also just looking at maybe the strength and the weaknesses of A&M. If Arkansas is going to beat A&M, which they haven't done very much recently, but if they're going to beat them, how do you exploit A&M? What's their weakness that Arkansas can maybe have some success in?
Well, I think this is an interesting one because I was looking at the numbers. I didn't realize how often KJ Jefferson had been sacked. Last week, A&M got 7 sacks, but I don't know if that is who they really are, right? A&M, as good of a defensive line and as good as they are at stopping the run, I don't know if A&M, they had 6 coming into that game, so now they have 13. I don't know how good they are at attacking quarterbacks. And I know KJ's gone down 8 times in the last couple of games. But I think that is one area is if KJ has time to move out of the pocket and throw, the A&M secondary is suspect. So Aggie defense has got to have to corral him to the middle and force him into some bad situations. But if KJ gets out in the open and he can hit those receivers, A&M secondary has struggled, which, by the way, I've been reading the numbers, and that's an area that Arkansas would like to do better at. And A&M's got some elite wide receivers, but from an Arkansas offensive standpoint, it is the ability to get KJ on the run, which I know they're doing more of, and hitting downfield. And Luke Haas is going to be a difference maker. That dude shows up every time you watch highlights or film on Arkansas. Just a freshman doing huge things. Those are a couple of areas that I think that they'll be able to exploit, especially with the linebackers have played well for A&M this year. But it's another thing to cover a dude like Luke Haas.
All right, last one before I let you get out of here, David. I was doing some research just to this game in Arlington, not the game that's had some home and homes between Arkansas and Texas A&M, but all but 3 of these games have ended with 1-possession games. And it's ironically enough, of those 3 games, Arkansas won 2 of them where they won by more than 1 possession. So it's kind of a weird thing. Do you see that being the same case in this game where close game, 1-possession game down to the wire, kind of like it's always been? Or do you think A&M will have some success and maybe even beat Arkansas by more than just 1 possession?
Honestly, it's life in the SEC, right? So you expect these games to come down to the wire. I really do expect those games to go down to the wire. Look what Arkansas did in Baton Rouge, a game that I think they should have won. They lose by 3, Death Valley. Neutral site game, not going to be as imposing. We all know that. We know that they're playing for their season on the line. I expect this game to be a close game. Now, if A&M is able to do what they did against Auburn, which is neutralize the run game and get to the quarterback, then I could see it being a double-digit win. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think A&M plays and all these SEC teams play in these one-score games. Who's the team that makes the least amount of mistakes? Both teams make a lot of mistakes. I think Auburn's being penalized 9 times a game this year, A&M 7.7. That is too much. The team that does the least amount of that will win this one.
Yeah, both Arkansas and A&M have trouble with penalties because Arkansas is one of the worst ones in the conference too. So it could be an ugly game, but should be a fun one. David Nuno of TexAgs.com. You can follow him on Twitter at David Nuno. Appreciate it as always, man. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy the game. And I'm sure we'll be catching up with you later down the road.
Appreciate you, sir. Thanks so much for having me on, John.
Appreciate David Nuno joining us. We're going to take another commercial break here on a Wide Open Wednesday. We'll come back with your Razor Hog update presented by True Service and more here on Wide Open Wednesday on Out of Bounds. So stay with us.
Gwatney Chevrolet in Jacksonville is going beyond the competition to change your current vehicle situation with Gwatney's exclusive loan and lease termination program.
I need your current payment, your keys, and your signature.
Call 501-982-2102 and say hasta la vista to your current ride and payment with the help of Gwatney's loan and lease termination program, regardless of your current financial situation.
I swear I will approve everyone.
Rates as low as 0% on new Chevrolets. Trade now and terminate your payments until 2024.
Get to Gwatney now.
The loan and lease termination program is this month only at Gwatney Chevrolet, 1301 TPY Drive in Jacksonville. Call 501-982-2102. GwatneyChevrolet.com. Chevrolet. Find new roads. All offers with approved credit. All voices are impersonators, but Gwatney's the real thing.
Shop Gwatney Chevrolet once, and you'll be back.
What's up, everyone? It's Christian Weaver for The Zone. Thursday on the show, Chris Kane will be in the guest host for Wes Moore. It's going to be a busy show. E.Y. Craner, thanks to Jackalope Cycling. Richard Davenport. Quinn Grovey, thanks to Bell and Sword. Dr. Lawrence O'Malley from UAMS Sports and Orthopedics. Wooded Rock Mayor Frank Scott Jr. And Chris Alley with the Average Guy Movie Review, thanks to Rock and Roll Sushi. It's all that and much more Thursday in The Zone, where sports and entertainment come crashing together.
Honey, I have asked you for months to clean out the attic and garage, and it is still not done.
But I don't have a trailer to haul off all this junk.
Just call Mini Bins. They have roll-off dumpsters that will fit right in the driveway, and they will haul it off for a low flat rate. Call them at 501-352-6464 or visit them on the web at minibins.net.
Wow, I had no idea. I'm going to give them a call right now. And you should too. Give Minibins a call today at 501-352-6464 or visit them online at minibins.net.
Attention Arkansas homeowners. Bath Makeover of Arkansas is looking for 50 homeowners to participate in our first ever Rake in the Fall savings event. 50 homeowners will receive test market pricing on a beautiful new walk-in shower. Bath Makeover is looking to evaluate our exciting new product lines in real bathroom conditions, including our revolutionary new laser etch shower wall system. That's right, homeowners will receive promotional pricing just to determine if our exquisite product lines are the right fit for your bathroom project. The first 50 homeowners who call 1-800-357-0956 will save 75% on installation of a new walk-in shower. Ask about 18 months, no interest, no payments. Senior and military discounts. Receive a $200 Amazon gift card with purchase and call 1-800-357-0956 now to receive a free $50 restaurant.com gift card with estimate. Call Bath Makeover now at 1-800-357-0956.
The Powerball jackpot from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery is now more than $800 million. So, what would you do if you won?
Oh, I would throw a joyous party, celebrate with the worst dance moves anybody's ever seen before.
I would spoil my little brothers.
Got your ticket? If not, visit your local lottery retailer for your chance to win the Powerball jackpot of more than $800 million. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Is your marriage over? Assets, debts, custody? For divorces, hire the Lions. There's no one better to protect your pride than our pride of Legal Lions. Exceptional communication and exceptional results in both the negotiating room and the courtroom. Lion Legal, the legal pride of Arkansas. Call 227-ROAR and Lion Legal will come roaring to the rescue.
Make your tailgate the party of the parking lot by getting the best meats in all of Arkansas at Hoggs Meat Market, the steak people. You're listening to Out of Bounds with John Nabors and Joe Franklin.
I got to ask, because I've always wondered, why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? What took you there? It's just so weird. It's
visiting friends,
Okay.
but yeah, Dixon Street.
Dixon Street?
Yeah, Dixon Street was it'll get you.
On 103.7 The Buzz.
Yo, remember back on the bully when cats used to harmonize like, yo, my men and my women, don't forget about the dame. This is not the most the king, yo. It's about a thing, yo. Feel real good, wave your hands in the air and lick 2 shots in the atmosphere. Put 'em up
It's Out of Bounds here on a wide open Wednesday. Appreciate everybody listening in this afternoon. We're going to have your Razor Hog update here in just a little bit, because we know that there's a lot of things that are happening here in the world of Razorback sports besides just football. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Appreciate David Nuno joining us in the previous segment as well. But another little few headlines, because we had to kind of rush through what's trending in the world of sports and what was going on there. But some other things that have been updated, or whether it's injuries or anything, especially in the NFL, saw that the Raiders' Jimmy Garoppolo still is remaining in the NFL concussions protocol, putting his availability for Sunday's game against the Chargers in jeopardy. But Coach Josh McDaniels remains hopeful that he's still going to play. But if not, they'll have to pivot towards Brian Hoyer coming in and playing for the Raiders.
Yeah, and they know what Brian Hoyer can do, and he's been with Josh McDaniels before. But it'd be a good time to get a look at their rookie, Aiden O'Connell from Purdue. That would be ideal to get him on the field and see what he has.
I didn't realize Brian Hoyer's been in the league for 15 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. I mean, it makes sense because, like, you think about it, he has been around a long time. But, man, that is a long time for him.
I have to be honest. During the game Sunday night with Steelers and Raiders, and Jimmy G had gotten kind of bent backwards on a sack, and it looked like he may have had to go out of the game, and they started showing shots of Brian Hoyer warming up on the sideline. I was thinking at that point, I'd rather have Jimmy G in the game, because Brian Hoyer, to be honest, he scares me a bit coming into the game in that type situation, because he's been there before.
Yeah.
He's a veteran that has that experience, and he goes in and just plays freely, and he's a guy that will go in and make some of those throws that maybe Jimmy G wasn't connecting on.
Well, and I feel like, with someone like him, or just any quarterback in general that's been in the league for 15 years, I usually like, hey, there's a reason why. There's a reason why they're still in the league, that they're still getting those opportunities. Maybe not as a starter, but as a backup, is because they're serviceable. They got an element to where you have some trust that if something happens to your starter, they can come in and pick up right where it left off. So we'll keep you updated on that, and also the whole situation with Mac Jones and Sauce Gardner, because for those you don't remember, we talked about it yesterday, or it was yesterday or Monday, I can't remember. But either way, Sauce was very upset with Mac Jones because Mac Jones reportedly, or allegedly, gave a little shiver, a little forearm right into the groin area of Sauce, and he was very upset by it. But Mac Jones was asked about this, and he simply responded with the classic line of just really focused on the Cowboys, trying to prepare for a good defense. That's my focus, trying to control the controllables. I'm looking forward to just building this week. We have practice today. We got practice tomorrow and Friday. Then a game in a great stadium and a great football culture that they have. So that's really what I'm looking forward to.
He knows how to play the game.
It's almost like his coach is Bill Belichick. And I mean, it's just like coming right out of the playbook of Bill Belichick. But I saw that. I was like, yeah, well, that sounds about right. And that just makes me think like, all right, buddy. Yeah, I already felt like you probably did it, but now I even more so think you did it. So, but yeah, those are just a few of the things. But we know also with Razorback sports and Razorback football coming up, got to hear from a couple of the players for Arkansas getting ready for this Texas A&M game. So let's go ahead and jump into your Razor Hog update presented by True Service.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
Arkansas wins the national championship! The Arkansas Razorbacks have completed the dream season!
Hogs by 90!
This is your Razor Hog update on Out of Bounds, presented by True Service Community Federal Credit Union, where they offer new mortgage loans, refinancing, auto loans, and small business loans. Online at trueservice.net.
All right, so for your Razor Hog update, Landon Jackson, the Razorback defensive end, met with the media here yesterday and talked about the effectiveness or lack thereof against LSU in the second half for the defense.
I think our defensive front needs to be more like we need to go out there and be ready for the tempo more. I think last week they started tempoing, and I guess our defensive line just I mean, we got to be able to still play the same when they're tempoing us that we do whenever they're not. So I think that played a big part in it. And then also, I mean, we just got to play better football. We got to have less penalties and we just play cleaner ball.
Cleaner ball is also trying to get to the quarterback, and they met with the media before it was announced that Wegman was out for the season, but they're still going to be prepared for Max Johnson.
I think both quarterbacks are very talented. Max Johnson has started games his freshman year, sophomore year, and now this year. So, I mean, I'm excited to play him. He's another guy I was teammates with at LSU. He could throw really well in the run. So that's something we're preparing to do is keep him in the pocket. So, I mean, that, and then Connor Wayman, I mean, if he's able to play, he's a really talented quarterback as well.
He ain't able to play. He may be talented, but he's going to be on the bench for the rest of the year.
He did say Wayman.
So he did say Wayman. That's right. We were talking about that. So, well, at least he got Max Johnson's name right. We also have Landon Jackson talk about the rivalry against Texas A&M between Arkansas and how there's a lot of history between these two teams, but not a lot of success for Arkansas recently.
It's a big time rivalry. I think they've taken 10 of the past 11. So, I mean, we're trying to get this one and come out on top. And I mean, it's a big time game. And I mean, I'm really trying to get a win. You know, I don't like losing. I come from a winning history, and I want to get this win for sure.
Also, Rashad Dubinion, who's done a really good job at the running back spot in Rocket Sanders' absence, talked about some of the improvements he's made since the beginning of the year.
Trusting the old line. At first, I was like going off what I knew last year, like with the older guys that had a lift in the game. It was like kind of fast. I just started trusting the old line, taking what they give me in the right holes, slowing down my steps, making the right reads.
I thought it was just all the offensive line, apparently. There was a little truth to the fact that some of the running backs were having those issues, but Dubinion also was asked about KJ Jefferson and what makes him great as a player.
Like, from experience, he's a great leader, like, tremendous guy, like, on in and off the field. Like, he handles his business. He makes sure everyone around him trying to do the same thing on the right track. He makes sure everybody's on their P's and Q's, and we execute the offense. Like, no matter what the play call is, find a way to execute it.
What does that mean on your P's and Q's? Like, is that probably should know that. I know like what it means, but like what it's referencing to. I may look that up in the middle of the break, but I haven't heard that in a long time.
The origin of it.
Yeah. Mind your P's and Q's. I've always heard that, but never actually knew what it meant. But hey, there's your Razor Hog update presented by True Service. We got the third hour of Out of Bounds here on a wide open Wednesday coming up next, so stay with us.
Trey Shapp and Chris Shinup with Arkansas Urology. Chris, it's the 19th annual Kickoff to Men's Health event, this time coming to North Little Rock.
Yeah, Trey, we've had a great month, and we're excited to get to our clinic in North Little Rock, 4200 Stockton Drive, on Thursday, September 28th.
Gentlemen 40 and over, it's time for them to get screened, is it not?
That's right. And like our CEO, Scott Davis, says, you come in for a free screen, and you might win a 65-inch flat screen TV.
501-263-0926 for more information. Sponsored by Baptist Health.
I know the last 3 years, people have got accustomed to paying sticker price for a brand new vehicle. Well, it's not that way anymore at Red River Ram. If you're looking for a new Ram truck, we've got heavy-duty four-wheel drive trucks starting at $49,500 or up to $12,000 off sticker price for a Cummins diesel. And we've got $11,000 off Ram 1500 Bighorn four-wheel drive trucks. If you want the best selection and the best buying experience, make that beautiful drive right here to Heber Springs. Now during Ram Power Days.
Johnston's Home Center presents Andrew Chambly when he joins Randy and Rick on Drive Time Sports every Tuesday through football season. Johnston's Home Center. If you can't find it at Johnston's Home Center, you probably don't need it.
The fine art of armchair quarterbacking.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
1037 The Buzz. KABZ, Little Rock. Buzz News with Channel 7's Cassandra Webb.
A full primary health care clinic opened at Arkansas Baptist College last week. This is for both students and people in the surrounding community. They have 2 exam rooms, a lab, and also provide dental services. They say if you don't have insurance, they won't deny you at the door. The Arkansas Baptist College president tells us they're working out a way for students to intern or receive college credit at the healthcare facility. The Arkansas Geriatric Education Collaborative and the Central Arkansas Library System are teaming up for an event they call vaccine update for older adults. It'll be held at the D. Brown Library on Baseline Road in Little Rock on October 17th at noon. Officials say the program will help support and educate older adults about the COVID vaccine. For more news and weather, download our free KATV News and Weather apps. From the Channel 7 Newsroom, I'm Cassandra Webb.
Roger Scott is at it again with his Razorback Song of the Week, presented by Dr. Jimmy Tucker in Ortho, Arkansas. Join Morning Mayhem each week as the smooth, dulcet tones of Roger Scott bring you his Razorback Song of the Week. It's all brought to you by Dr. Jimmy Tucker in Ortho, Arkansas, and your fun and game station 103.7 The Buzz.
Weather from the Fletcher Weather Center with Channel 7's Melinda Mayo.
Another very warm day for late September, mostly sunny today, a high around 94 degrees, and tonight's low drops down to the upper 60s. We're going to stay in the 90s for highs through the weekend and into early next week. From the Channel 7 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Melinda Mayo.
Fletcher Dodge wants to buy your car. We'll buy any make or model, and we'll pay you more than anyone else. Please turn your old car into cash at Fletcher Dodge in Sherwood.
Are you a fan or are you the ultimate fan? Play the Alon DK Ultimate Sports Fan Package Sweepstakes for a chance to prove you're the world's greatest armchair quarterback. All from the comfort of your own home theater. Visit an Alon DK near you to enter for a chance to build your own home theater with a $5,000 Best Buy gift card plus a YouTube TV gift card. Your ticket to streaming your favorite games this season. Visit an Alon or DK today and score big. No purchase necessary. 18 or older. Message and data rates may apply. For official rules, eligibility, terms and conditions, and privacy policy, visit myalon.com/ultimate sports fan sweeps.
When it comes to tailgating this football season, Edwards Food Giant is your MVP when it comes to a hassle-free tailgate party. Pulled pork smoked to perfection, along with an ultimate lineup of sides and essentials that'll make your taste buds cheer and your tailgate setup a breeze. The Edwards team also features even more delicious meats like chicken, brisket, ribs, and smoked sausage, all straight from their own smokehouse. And it can all be found by clicking edwardsfoodgiant.com or by visiting your local Edwards Food Giant store. Edwards Food Giant is your MVP. edwardsfoodgiant.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium is here. Switch to my plan from Verizon at your local store today, and you'll get the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro on us with unlimited ultimate when you trade in any iPhone, any model, any condition. Guaranteed. Yep, even the old phone in your pocket right now. It's your Verizon. $999.99, 128 gigabyte only. Device payment purchase or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on unlimited ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR.
Fellas, Clint Sterner here. Let me get your attention real quick, man. If you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. What's that mean? If you want to get back to feeling your best, you need to schedule your health assessment at Low T Center ASAP. It's quick, it's easy, and now it's convenient. Low T Center offers monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month, cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center got you. They'll ship your treatments directly to your home. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Waiting is no fun. Like when you're hungry, waiting for the microwave. Waiting for the light to turn green when you're running late. Come on, come on, come on. Or waiting for your notoriously unpunctual friend to arrive at the bar, even though she just texted you 5 minutes away. Sure you are. At the payroll company, we know waiting stinks, which is why we pride ourselves on fast replies to our clients, doing payroll right and on time each month, and answering questions quickly and efficiently. The Payroll Company. Less headaches, more than payroll. Visit morethanpayroll.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Live from the Hoggs Meat Market Studios, this is Out of Bounds.
I think both quarterbacks are very talented. Max Johnson has started games his freshman year, sophomore year, and now this year. So, I'm excited to play him. He's another guy I was teammates with at LSU. He could throw really well in the run. So that's something we're preparing to do is keep him in the pocket. So, that, and then Connor Wayman, if he's able to play, he's a really talented quarterback as well.
Yeah. With John Nabors.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
And Joe Franklin.
We won't go into shell. We won't go into attack mode because that's what's required.
On 103.7 The Buzz.
I know that it's good. Won't you sit it on my taste buds? I get way too petty once you let me do the extras. Pull up on your block and break it down. We playing Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM phone. Eat up your per diem. You just gotta hate them phone. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes phone. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest phone. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Tell them be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
2 hours down, 1 hour to go. Appreciate everybody listening in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. John Nabors, Joe Franklin, broadcasting live from the Hoggs Meat Market Studios with you today. And thank you as always for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, it's a wide open Wednesday, folks. And in this hour, we're going to try to get to some of the storylines and dive into, of course, some of your messages and all, which, by the way, as a heads up, if you've been trying to get in on the conversation via our phone lines are having some issues right now. So if you do want to get on the conversation, I encourage you to text in on our Southern Structural Solutions text line at that same number at 501-661-1037. You can still get after us in the Asher Record Live Fan Feedback. After me on Twitter at BuzzJohnNabors. You can even go on our live video stream and comment that way as well. So, we're trying to get that fixed up as soon as possible. But if you've been trying to call in and not getting through, that's the reason why. And we will just go through the Southern Structural Solutions text instead and make that work. But so we won't have Andrew Ellis on here either, but we'll keep it moving with some of the other stuff that's been going on in the world of sports, which, by the way, real quick, I asked about the P's and Q's, the origin of that. Luckily, on the Southern Structural Solutions text line, we had Mel H., who said P's and Q's originally meant pints and quarts. So when someone said, mind your P's and Q's, it meant don't get drunk and act like a hooligan. Now, the more meaning is behave yourself and mind your own behavior. So
nice.
There we go. Now we know.
Good way to explain it. Now, that was something that we always heard in school.
Yeah.
Like when you were getting out of line in school, be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah, P's and Q's. And also heard when it was you had to be there somewhere or being called into the office or whatever in school is was it PDQ? Or something like that.
Never heard that one. What was that about?
It's like something to where it's like you're expected, someone's like so-and-so needs to come to the office. I think it was PDQ or something to that extent. Like it had a Q in it, I remember, but I never knew what that meant. But I may be just making that up. Maybe I just heard it somewhere. But I thought that was a thing. I know it was different, but yeah, those are all the things as a kid you always hear, and you're like, I have no idea what it means, but you know the intent just based on the tone of voice. And that meant ASAP. So I don't know. Maybe someone on the text line can also help me out with that one too, because I don't remember what exactly that one meant. Oh, there we go. It's from the 501 says pretty damn quick is what it meant.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too.
There we go. Or in other ways, pretty darn quick, as the 501 says.
Speaking of that,
yeah,
Tom Brady, if he doesn't have it copyrighted, let's go LFG. Or let's blank and go. He needs to be on top of that because he was the first person that was really known for saying that. Like, not to say that it didn't exist before Tom Brady,
right?
But everybody says that. So he needs to have that copyrighted. That's just like with Taylor Swift being in the box. they had the camera on her at one point, and she said, "Let's blank and go."
Yeah.
So like everybody says it. Her friend that was with her, there was another time there was a shot in the box. She's like, "Let's go."
Yeah. I see, because I think of anytime I hear if I see it typed out LFG, that's the first thing I think of. And the first one I think of is Tom Brady.
And the podcast that they do, it's called Let's Go Podcast.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so he needs to have that copyrighted if he doesn't.
He needs to figure that out and try to make that work. I actually just looked it up just to see if he does have it trademarked at any point, because I thought that would have been pretty interesting if he did. And as of right now, he doesn't. He has, TB12. It's copyrighted. Sustained peak performance apparently is copyrighted. Tom Brady's copyrighted. Brady, the brand Brady, is copyrighted for that. Tom Brady 12 is there too. So there's a few things about him, but yeah, as far as the LFG, he didn't do it. He also did the Tampa Bay and Tampa Brady.
Yes,
he did those.
Remember when those were going through?
Yeah, back when he was with the Bucks. But yeah, he needs to get on that. Maybe with all the branding and stuff that he does. Yeah, I'm surprised that it already hadn't happened, at least at this point in time. So, but yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. And Chachi said, "No, dude, it was PDA. No, it wasn't PDA. It was PDQ. PDA.
Okay, so what was PDA?
Public display of affection.
No, I thought maybe he was meaning that was something different. That it wasn't PDQ. It was PDA, like in a school sense.
Right. Yeah, I think that's like again because I remember the PDA that got thrown around. It was just the very I hate to say the political way, but it was almost like the very casual way of saying you can't be making out in the middle of the hallways when you're in high school, like that type of stuff. It's like, PDA is not allowed. Can't be holding hands.
Yeah,
That's what they called
PDA,
it.
that exists everywhere. Just thought it had more some type of school meaning that he was trying to say.
Yeah, maybe so. Also, speaking of like that type of thing, I remember when I had a teacher that called. I learned about necking. I never heard necking.
Yeah.
And I learned about that. And I remember I had a teacher that would call it that all the time. I'm like, that is so weird. What is that?
Now, how old was this teacher?
She's old.
Yeah, because
old
age makes the difference, and it's a factor into how people say certain things.
Yeah. And that's where like she kept saying it over, and then like saying not as in explaining it, but just saying that was just common like talk with like, I think it was in junior high. And then I think somebody finally said, "It's like, what word are you saying? Like, what is that?" She's like, "Necking." It's like, what is that? What does necking mean? She said something like very,
so
old
lady-ish. Figure that out without her saying what it meant.
No, because it's like we kept thinking that she was saying naked, like
right.
So I think it was just more like we were giggling and thought it was a funny word that she was using, and kind of wanted to keep hearing her say it because it made us laugh. But
so how did she explain it? How did she end up explaining
She
that?
explained it in a way of like, she says like, well, when you have basically way over the top and too descriptive in a way that's just like, well, when you have a guy and a girl or a boy and a girl that are together and, they're meeting together and, sometimes they're kissing, but it's a little bit more than kissing. And we're like,
it's just
making out. Like,
right,
yeah,
right.
Just say that. Like, that's what everybody else was saying, but it was just a weird deal. But anyways, yeah, it's amazing how some of the stuff you learn from what teachers said that you didn't understand, or some of the terms you used, I didn't even think about until later in life, like the PDQ. I never knew what that meant until today. I was years old when I learned it.
Probably didn't care before that, even though you heard it over and over. You were like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, whatever, sure, I'll be there as soon as I can. I'll try to make that possible. So, but thank you for all the education. What are those acronyms, right? I think that's what those are called. Appreciate all of that. Let's see. Lewis says, "Hey John, this is Lewis, and the same person from the 501 stole my thunder because I had the same answer for you." Well, I think it's pretty common. And also, William and Brian says you shouldn't be able to copyright "Let's Bleep and Go." That's dumb.
You should be able to copyright it. You can copyright whatever you want to. You can apply to copyright whatever you want to. Now, if it's accepted or not, that's a different story.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of stuff just in sports and sports figures where, like, it can be phrases, it can be moments, it can be looks or whatever that you just, automatically simulate it with who that person is. And that's kind of what it is with Tom Brady. Because, we've seen, I think, like Johnny Manziel, he copyrighted Johnny Football. It's like, that makes sense. Like it's something that it's not his name, but it's his nickname that he's copywriting. I think did Kobe Bryant do Black Mamba or Mamba?
Yeah,
Yeah.
did, all that.
So that wasn't their name or anything, but they copyright because that's what you think of. It's the same thing with Tom Brady. Maybe a little bit more generic because a lot of people say it, but he's the one that made it. I feel like made that phrase a thing.
He made it popular.
Yeah, because he still says it to this day, and still, said was it the podcast you said, right? Was his?
Yeah, it's called Let's Go Podcast.
Yeah, I mean, he's about the brand, baby. He's about the brand, and I have no problem with that and him copywriting it. I'm trying to think of the other athletes that had things like that or phrases.
Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, that's another great one. Which I kind of felt bad. I talked to my nephew who's 20 years old. Speaking of that, just a few weeks ago, and he had he showed me some, like, I think it was like a TikTok he sent of something like that. And the phrase or caption said, "Get your popcorn ready." And I texted him, I was like, "Do you know who said that?" And he was like, "Yeah, this person in here." I was like, no. Do you know where that came from? It's like, do you know the origin of what that phrase was? And he was like, "No." It's like, man, kids these days. It's like, it's Terrell Owens.
How old did you say he is?
He's 20.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But it's just funny because I'm like, I'm sure that was like that same way when I was a kid. There's probably some like famous phrase, but I was like, I just automatically assume that everyone knows T.O. is the one that started. Because
that just means you're getting old when you start assuming that people know certain things.
Halfway to 70 happens next week. Halfway to 70,
especially somebody young.
Oh yeah, well, because wasn't that he wrote it in the letter? Wasn't it? That's where he said, because they were about to play the Patriots when he was with the Cowboys, and he had it in his locker because he wasn't doing any meeting. And just said, better get your popcorn ready or whatever. That was a cool moment because he also is the one that got the popcorn and dumped it in his face.
He acted it out. He did all that.
I miss T.O. I don't care if anybody says.
You know what? If you watch Colorado games, you'll see T.O. He's coming out with the team.
That's right. Okay, see, I remember I saw a clip on of them coming out, and I was like, man, that looks like T.O. So
T.O., he goes everywhere with him.
Hey, I always liked T.O. I remember I didn't like him at first, but he grew on me pretty quickly. I liked T.O. and his personality and some of his antics. I could take him or leave him, but man, he was a lot of fun to watch. And he always, here's the thing. Just like in every athlete that acts that way, if you back it up, if you when the light comes on, you perform, you could say or do whatever you want. Because that was the thing, like him and Randy Moss, like those guys that had big personalities, talked a lot and, had some things like, man, but when the lights come on, they show up. Who cares about what they're doing in practice or, their chemistry or something? They're doing great things when they get on the field.
Their numbers are similar. The one difference is that T.O. was always going to give maximum effort, and every team he was a part of, he made every team he was a part of better. Randy Moss, at sometimes he would kind of zone out and do what, they would say as far as taking plays off or not giving effort depending on what the situation was, because nobody thinks of it, but Randy Moss playing for the Raiders, those were lost seasons, or at least one lost season, him playing for the Raiders, because he didn't care. He wasn't giving any effort when he was playing for the Raiders. And overall, they weren't a better team. But you can't point to a team that T.O. played for to say that team didn't get better with T.O. on the field.
Yeah, because who was the quarterback even out at Oakland at that time? Like, was it Rich Gannon? After Rich Gannon, right? I think maybe.
It was after. Can't even think. Who it may have been.
I think it was it was definitely post their Super Bowl appearance and post John Gruden days.
But think about how the turnaround happened, like immediately. He goes from the Vikings, where he's really good, goes to the Raiders, looks like he's a shell of himself and really doesn't need to play football anymore, goes to the Patriots, and he looks like that same guy that played for the Vikings.
Yeah, what was it, 20 touchdown catches in that 1 year in 2007?
And it was just a matter of he had his head in it once he got to the Patriots, and he really wanted to be there when he was with the Raiders. Once he saw what was happening there and that they really weren't competitive as a team, he didn't care.
Yeah, because he when he was in it, like you said, I mean, there was not many people better than him. And that 2007 Patriots team was, especially the offense. I mean, defense was really great too, but that offense, man, was just a machine. Because I think that was the first time someone had thrown 50 touchdown passes in a season with Tom Brady doing it.
Oh yeah,
not mistaken. So yeah, they were awesome. And then because he went back to the Vikings after that, right? And then with
Randy Moss, he had some lost years because he went to the Vikings, the Niners, the Titans.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot the Titans.
He played all over the place.
Yeah, because T.O. at the end of his career, he was at Cincinnati,
Yeah,
the Bengals,
yeah.
right? Because was it with Matt Jones while he was, or that was the whole story about him maybe getting a tryout with him? Wasn't that what it was?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a cool story. And speaking of Matt,
because it was about a situation where Matt really should have gone to the Titans because there was an opportunity there, and so he was on the Bengals at the same time as T.O. and what's the other receiver, last name Bryant, but those were the guys that the focus was on, along with Chad Ochocinco, and so they really had their receiving core together. And the offer came in with the Titans, which would have been a better overall situation for Matt, but Matt had already agreed to, go with the Bengals, so he wanted to be able to honor that agreement and not back out of it to go to a better situation. So it was all about timing, and the better situation for him would have been with the Titans, but the way the timing worked out was he had already agreed to go play for the Bengals.
Yeah. See, that's the unfortunate thing about those decisions in those moments. It's like you just never know. You never know what's going to play out. But it made me think of, speaking of Matt Jones and when he was in the NFL, and also Deion Sanders, as I remember, and I went back to try to find the article, but I remember when Matt Jones was with the Jags, he had a really big game against the Ravens, one game, and Deion Sanders was on
right
the Ravens, and he was matching up against Matt Jones. And I remember Deion after the game spoke very highly of Matt Jones and said, I forgot exactly how he put it, but basically was saying, was like, hey, this guy is a legit athlete. I mean, he's really good, and gave a lot of high praises to Matt Jones. And I always thought that was a really cool thing that, Deion, somebody as famous as him, I know it was later in his career, but still to him to go out and talk about Matt Jones and the way that he did and the game that Matt Jones has, I always thought was a really cool thing.
Oh, yeah, that was big for Matt to catch passes on Deion Sanders, one of the best of all time.
Yeah. I wonder what he thinks. I need to ask Matt what he thinks about that now, especially now that Deion's had the resurgence of being the coach of Colorado and all of that. Like, is that something that, he remembers? I'm sure he does, that game and going up against Deion and what that was like.
Yeah, he definitely does. He said something about it before where he's like, caught passes on Deion Sanders, and he may have been older, but it was still Deion Sanders.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care if it's Deion Sanders now. Like, if you're catching passes on Deion Sanders, that would be something that I would relish in for the rest of my life.
It's just one of those cool moments where you play the game and you're a part of an NFL team, which is a big time accomplishment to begin with, and then you're on the field at times with players that you grew up watching and some of the all-time greats. It was just one of those moments.
Yeah, which I'm sure happens a lot of times in all sports. Like, I know, speaking like if it's the NBA, if a guy, new rookie kid or whatever, gets to go up against LeBron James, that is a really incredible thing, I'm sure, for them. It's like, I forgot which player it was that made the joke to LeBron where he's like, man, my dad played against you, like when you.
It was the guy from Auburn, the Jabari Smith.
Jabari Smith. That's right. Yeah. So I think that's probably and I think LeBron's like, man, you didn't have, don't do me like that. But it's true. Like, that'd be a cool thing where it's like, guys like LeBron or, any big time athletes right now. Cause even Tom Brady, before he retired, I'm sure there are people that came rookies in the league. Like, man, I grew up watching you, or like,
there was a lot of that his last few seasons because they didn't know that, was this going to be the last season? Was he going to play another one? So every time they stepped on the field and they got a chance to say something to Tom Brady, they took advantage of it.
I think it was even with maybe it was on the deal with that they do NFL Hard Knocks just this year with Aaron Rodgers. And I think there was a Jets player that came up to him, maybe Garrett Wilson. It was somebody. I was young. They were just like, man, I grew up watching you. I was always a big fan. And I was like, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers, he didn't care about it. But it's just funny when, they approach it. It was just like, they're all on the same team, but it's like, some of these guys, like an Aaron Rodgers, like these guys were probably 3 or 4 years old when they came into the league, and to see like with Aaron Rodgers and now they're playing with him, it's probably a pretty crazy moment for both of them.
And something that was an off-season story, Matt Stafford, he's facing the same thing where a lot of teammates, they're young. They're one of the younger teams altogether with some of the additions they made, but he's a seasoned vet. He's been around for a while. So that was an off-season story where he was trying to make that connection with the young teammates.
Yeah. Wasn't this his wife that was kind of the one?
She was the one that put it out there for
Right.
everybody else to know.
Yeah, I remember that whole thing. By the way, on the Southern Structural Solutions text line from the 501 says, didn't T.O. start the horse collar tackle rule in the NFL?
Yeah. He took that bad tackle that ended up breaking his leg where he came back and played in the Super Bowl that year, but they implemented that rule in the offseason after that year.
Was that 03, 04 year against? Because they lost to the Patriots in that Super Bowl, right?
Yes, they did.
Okay, yeah, I remember. I was not a Eagles fan, but I just hated the Patriots so much that I remember I was rooting for the Panthers, rooting for the Rams, rooting for the Eagles.
Any team that played against the Patriots.
Any team that played against them, I was rooting for.
And we've talked
Giants.
about that before, how amazing that was. When the Patriots made the first Super Bowl, everybody is cheering for them. They wanted, because the Rams had already won. You want to see the Patriots. You want to see something different and new. And after they've had success for a few years, now everybody wants to see the Patriots get beat.
Yep. It's like, okay, enough.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Now, same thing with the Chiefs. The Chiefs, if they get to the Super Bowl, there's a large majority of people that want to see something new. They want to see the Chiefs get beat. They probably want to see the Chiefs get beat in the AFC Championship game. Make it where they don't even get to the Super Bowl just because they've seen it. They've seen them be in the AFC Championship game so many times here recently with a chance to play in the Super Bowl. And they haven't necessarily made it there every year, but they're always in the mix.
Yeah, because I even think, was it the Rams and the Bengals, which were two newer teams to getting to the Super Bowl at least. Rams for the first time, or I guess second time since they've been in LA. But well, I mean, felt like everybody was rooting for the Bengals in that one. But if the Bengals had won that one and say maybe won another one or whatnot, it's like, okay, no longer you a team that we care about. Like we're gonna move on.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's how sports is. So it makes them great, that's for sure. But appreciate all the comments coming in. We got to take another break. When we come back, we'll have more Out of Bounds, as well as reading some of your text messages on our Southern Structural Solutions text line. Also meant to play this yesterday. I want to play it today. I love Joe Namath, and I loved what he had to say about Zach Wilson. It was really humorous to me, but we'll play that clip for you and have some fun here on Out of Bounds. It's all on a wide open Wednesday coming up next, so stay with us.
Tune in to hear what the Head Hog has to say each Wednesday with the Sam Pittman Show, brought to you by Chris Crane Hyundai of Conway, Arkansas's #1 Hyundai dealer.
This is Sports Center.
Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, Baltimore Orioles legend, and Little Rock native Brooks Robinson passed away at the age of 86. He made his debut in 1955 and played third base for the Orioles for the next 23 seasons. He was an 18-time All-Star, a 2-time World Series champion, a 1-time World Series MVP, and a 1-time AL MVP, winning it in 1964. Also during that time, he won 16 consecutive Gold Gloves at third base. His 16 Gold Gloves are the most ever by a non-pitcher, and tied with Jim Cott for second most among any player, first being Greg Maddux with 18. And the Arkansas Travelers forced a decisive Game 3 in the Texas League Championship Series as they beat the Amarillo Sod Poodles 6-5 last night. Game 3 will be tonight. First pitch is set for 7:05. Coverage can be heard on 106.7 Buzz 2. I'm Christian Weaver with the Buzz Radio Network.
Allow us to introduce ourselves. We are Big O Tires. However, we might as well go by Big O Tires, alignments, batteries, brakes, oil changes, suspensions, and free visual inspection upon arrival, because we do all that and more. But that name seems a little long and it won't fit on our sign. Now at Big O Tires in Conway and Cabot, take $100 off select sets of tires. That's right, save $100 right now off select sets of tires and get tires, service, and straight talk at Big O Tires.
Catch the shooter Pat Bradley on Morning Mayhem, presented by Bradford Marine and ATV, with 6 statewide locations. It's riding season. Visit Bradford Marine and ATV and check out the Can-Am Riker motorcycle. Stop by today for the best in-store inventory and discount prices. View all the inventory online at bradfordmarine.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hi, I'm Rick Pennington of Lions Drug. We have great news. Generic Cialis is now available at a huge savings. We have Tadalafil, the FDA-approved generic of Cialis, in a 20-milligram tablet at a savings of up to 80%. We have the 5-milligram daily tablets for less than $3 a pill. Lions Drug continues to be your go-to pharmacy for men's health. What are you waiting for? Call us today at 844-676-2247 or go to our website at lionsdrug.com.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, two-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
See Shelter Agent Matt Steele in Bryant, Todd Matthews in Benton, or Justin Stewart in Malvern today.
At Southern Floor Coating, coatings are all they do, and they won't be beat on price. Factory-trained installers using the purest form of polyurea with UV stability for all your outside projects. When you call, you'll talk with a professional interested in your project, not a voicemail. Don't trust a fly-by-night company that may not be in business next year. Transform your patio, porch, or pool deck and call the real pros at Southern Floor Coating. 501-402-4912 or take a look at southernfloorcoating.com. Need a new tractor, zero-turn mower, maybe even a new utility vehicle? River Valley Tractor has you covered. With Kubota equipment from River Valley Tractor, you'll find tractors that are rated #1 in owner experience to take on your toughest jobs with ease. Find them today at rivervalleytractor.com. Work smarter, not harder this year with River Valley Tractor. River Valley Tractor, closer than you think.
The Grove Hunting Club, just a short hour away from Little Rock in Jefferson County. 12,000 acres of waterfowl hunting, a main and secondary lodge, along with 4 private cabins. Call 870-692-3221 or email grovehuntingclub@gmail.com.
Have a watch party that everyone wants to attend at your house with the best of meats in the business. Hoggs Meat Market, the steak people. You're listening to Out of Bounds with John Nabors and Joe Franklin.
Dean's going to throw, and it's intercepted at the 15. Spence has picked it off, and he's going to go the distance. 50, 40, 30, 20. Brad Spence to the house. An interception return for a score, 85 yards in his first game as a Razorback. How about that?
On 103.7 The Buzz.
Maybe it's me, maybe I bore you. No, it's my fault, 'cause I can't afford you. Maybe, baby, Puffy, Jay-Z would all be better for you. All I could do was love you, baby, when I used to love you.
Out of Bounds here on a wide open Wednesday, and we are almost out of time here in the month of September. Not December. December will be here before you know it, but September is almost over. I can tell you that. And with that being said, Guani Chevrolet is still having their loan and lease termination program just for a few more days until the end of the month. You will not want to miss the opportunity to get out of that vehicle that you want to not be in, which if you're driving around listening to the show, look around at your vehicle. You know if you don't want to be in it. You know you want to trade it in. You know you want to get rid of it and get you something nice. Guani Chevrolet is going to help you out with that because during September, everyone will be improved. Plus, Guani Chevrolet knows everyone could benefit from having no car payments for the rest of the year on top of all that. 0% financing with the brand new Chevy Silverado. So maybe you're in one of those other trucks that you don't really want to be in anymore. You can get you a brand spanking new Silverado with 0%. APR with approved credit, as well as 2.1% on the 2023 Equinoxes. So you got it all going on there. So no matter what your vehicle may be, no matter what you want to get into, take advantage of the loan and lease termination program with Guatney Chevrolet right there off the Gregory Street exit in Jacksonville. They are Arkansas's #1 Chevy dealer It's Gwatney Chevrolet, and you can shop them online at GwatneyChevrolet.com. Also wanted to remind everybody that our Buzz Fall Golf Tournament will also be here before you know it, a week from this Tuesday. So less than 2 weeks away is when it's going to be going down at Burns Park. Awesome golf course, by the way. If you haven't played there, you'll definitely appreciate and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. And registration is open at 1037thebuzz.com. So register your team that way. Still have some spots open for both the morning and afternoon flights. And it's all in thanks to Tito's Handmade Vodka, Double B's, Michelob Ultra, Corky's, Sonic, Southern Structural Solutions, and Cellular Data Solutions. So really looking forward to that when it's coming up here in just less than 2 weeks. Yesterday, went to play this clip, but I was going to play it today anyways, just because of the whole Zach Wilson thing and people really coming down on him. And even I saw Rich Cimini, who is one of the guys who covers the Jets on the ESPN. He says the locker room is ready to implode, is how he put it, because he says sources say that some people in the locker room are, they're not appreciative of the quote pampering of Zach Wilson that Robert Saleh has been doing in the media and in press conferences. Whoa. They are not a fan of it. And, a lot of people have been critical, which could be very problematic for the Jets and for their team in general. But also when you have the most iconic Jets quarterback coming in and having some strong thoughts about Zach Wilson, well, just hear it from the man himself, Joe Namath.
And you brought up the coaching. How can a coach make things better for Zach?
How can a coach say the locker room's together? How many teams have we been on? Are you telling me there aren't some cats on the defensive side saying, whoa, man, what's wrong with you? Yeah, there's not all harmony in the locker room. And if there is, they need to get rid of the people. You got to get people in there that are competitors and want to fight to win. These guys don't have to be in love with each other. And if they're saying they're in love with each other, they're BSing you. And you got to get rid of them, top to bottom.
What would you, if somebody handed you Zach Wilson and said, okay, Joe, make him better, what would you do?
Send him to Kansas City to back up against somebody like Mahomes, maybe he'd learn something. I wouldn't keep him. I've seen enough of Zach Wilson. All right? I've seen enough. Has quick feet, can throw a little bit, but I don't believe what's going on up there.
So Joe Namath with some really strong comments on the Dan Patrick Show. And, man, just I think I love his plan like that he has if he was coaching Zach Wilson. Just send him to another team and see if he can learn behind one of the greater quarterbacks, or just send him away from us. So we don't have to have him.
That was the plan with Aaron Rodgers to begin with. Now, the circumstances dictate differently, but sometimes you'll see injured players that they're still around the team. Aaron Rodgers is not. Aaron Rodgers is in California, and he's laid up. So he is completely separated from the team. Now, he does have a long process in rehab, so that's not to say that at some point maybe he does go back to the team. But at this point right now, Aaron Rodgers is in California on the opposite coast from the team. Now, in camp, there was a lot of talk about how Aaron Rodgers was sharing a lot of thoughts with Zach Wilson, and not that he was coaching him up, but he was doing a certain part in trying to mentor Zach Wilson. But now all that's been thrown out.
Oh yeah, because it's just changed everything, and I'm sure that's where a lot of the frustrations are coming into play. Because it wasn't the season that anybody was hoping for, thinking that if you're on the Jets team, the defense wasn't thinking that, oh man, we're going to have to carry the entire load and play our, what's off. Well, exactly. It's like they didn't want to do it again.
They didn't expect that. And then Zach Wilson at the same time, he didn't expect to play this season.
No, and that's where I almost feel like bad for him in a way, because it's like, he wasn't expecting this. Nobody was. And I even saw that Aaron Rodgers going on the Pat McAfee show yesterday said that, quote, we need, after seeing the sideline blow-ups there in the game against the Patriots, he said, quote, I think we need to hold our poise a little bit better across the board, just offensively. We need to not have some of those things happen on the sidelines, just be a little bit better and be just a little bit better competitors, as well as saying that they need to grow up and not point any fingers. So,
see, Aaron Rodgers still has Zach Wilson's back.
Yeah. Yeah. From, like you said, from California. Yeah. From California. Yeah. He's really got his back. But, oh, geez. Like, I I just see it and it's just like, man, because I can understand it as like if I'm a defensive player or just an offensive player, even it's like, again, nobody wanted to be in that situation, but jeez, it's like, dude, we've seen this before. I mean, even with Joe Namath, like everyone knows they've seen it. That's Zach Wilson is who he is, and I don't know if there's anything you can do about it or should do about it. Maybe not, but it's still just one of those things where it's just like you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
The funniest part was hearing him describe Zach Wilson. He said he can run it. He can run, he can use his feet. He can throw it a little bit. Hearing him say he can throw it a little bit when he was really being nice in what he was saying as far as him throwing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like just almost not being complimentary, but just being very, I don't say even nice, but just being a very, like just not attacking him completely, but just saying, hey, he does this a little bit. Okay. It's fine. A little bit, somewhat, kind of on occasion. He can do those things. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Jets, but it's not anything surprising that's been going on. But also speaking of quarterbacks in the NFL, I did see that Bryce Young is on track to start this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. So that's big news for the Panthers.
Yeah, it really is. And they actually played well, probably as good as you would have thought they would have played going to Seattle and making that trip across the country. But as we talked about, Andy Dalton is one of those vets that he gets his opportunity, he can go in and play well.
Yeah, so that's a big thing for them, and because again, I think Bryce Young's got a lot of intangibles, and I was even talking to a guy I know that has covered Alabama football for a long time because, of course, we talked about their quarterback situation, but he says that he felt like Bryce Young was the best quarterback of all those great Bama quarterbacks, like just as far as Tua and Hurts. In college, like they were the best ones.
I know exactly where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, he may be up there as far as how calm he stays and he stays even kill, but it's hard to argue that any one of those quarterbacks is more talented than Tua.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
just top to bottom.
I just felt like with Tua, the unfortunate thing was just his injuries that he had.
Exactly.
Because Jalen Hurts was good. But it seemed like as soon as Tua came in for Bama, there was just a whole different element, like a whole new energy, and just everyone's like wowed by his ability to play the way that he did.
Tua and Bryce Young are similar, though.
Mm-hmm.
They're really similar.
Yeah, because and Tua also was it the opposite? Was it that Jalen Hurts started the whole year and then Tua came into the championship game?
Yes,
that's what it was. Yeah, because that was the one there. He had that big pass in overtime, I guess, against Georgia. To walk it off there on 2nd and 26 or whatever it was.
And then when they got in the SEC championship the following season, Jalen Hurts went in and kind of saved the day.
That's right. Yeah. How nice it must be to have backup quarterbacks or another backup quarterback all being really good, and they all just come in. And even in the case of even being at the NFL now, both being starters and both being very successful with their offenses. How fun is that for them? Good, because Alabama needed some breaks. They finally needed some quarterbacks.
Little Rock Touchdown Club still has tickets available for Jim McMahon on October 2nd. That's Monday coming up, but tickets are selling fast. So if you want to get a ticket to go see Jim McMahon, you need to make that happen soon to get by the Little Rock Touchdown Club. Members, it's $25. Non-members, $35. It's going to be at the Doubletree on Monday.
See, I think Jim McMahon's awesome, and I look forward to hearing from what he has to say. I don't know if he'll do it, but I always thought it'd be like cool if he walked in with the sunglasses and the hat and a beer in his hand. Like that, just, because that was his.
That's the typical look.
That would be really cool if he could do that. Which is so funny because he came from BYU, like where he played in college. You wouldn't, that's saying that there's a direct, thing, but you just, especially during that time, you didn't feel like those quarterbacks from BYU would have that type of personality. You think of, I guess like Steve Young or
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Yeah. Zach Wilson, the guy that probably never even left the state of Utah his entire life. But then we got McMahon, who's just like, hey, he likes to have a good time, likes to party, likes to be good. Is he the greatest quarterback to ever be at the Bears? Right? Probably. Bears history.
He won the only Super Bowl.
True.
So people are going to think of that first and foremost.
Yeah.
He wasn't the greatest as far as numbers wise, but he was efficient. He did what it took to win games.
Yeah, it's only him and Rex Grossman, only ones that have been, they're in the Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. Can't forget that one. We got 3 and Out here on Out of Bounds coming up next, so stay with us.
In a world of inflated car payments and sky-high interest, Guadney Buick GMC next to Sam's in North Little Rock is taking their inventory to the nines. Call 501-945-4444. Get Sierra 1500 with the 5.3 V8 engine at just 0.9%. Plus, Guadney will double down with an additional $3,250 off when trading in a 2009 or newer vehicle. Guadney Buick GMC hasn't left out SUVs. Get 2023 GMC Terrain at just 1.9%. Or 2024 Buick Encore GX at just 2.9%. And if you haven't noticed, the holidays are coming. So why not get all the way to 2024 with no payments for the rest of the year? Guadney Buick GMC, 5700 Landers Road in North Little Rock. Call 501-945-4444. Guadney Buick GMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade. All offers with approved credit.
Guadney for Buick, Guadney for GMC, Guadney for life.
Not again.
Let me tell you about my man Tom. He had some serious bad luck. And one day he said to me,
when is my luck gonna change?
And I was like, you need to go to Tunica, bro. And he was like,
yeah, good idea, bro.
Tom was winning big money. People were cheering and kisses. My man was like,
this is amazing.
His losing streak was finally over.
Man, I cannot believe my luck.
Believe it, because when you're in Tunica, you're always a winner.
If you're on the job day in and day out, you know living with pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulders is miserable. The good news, QC Kinetics gets it. They understand guys like you.
They don't have the luxury of taking time off. They want to keep working. We are built for those guys that want to keep working and want to stay active. So the vast majority of who we see are the blue-collar guys like me and you.
QC Kinetics uses biologic therapies, just like pro athletes have used for years, to get you lasting pain relief with no surgery.
I want you to continue working. I want you to continue exercising. The joints are made to be moved.
The treatments at QC Kinetics are fast and non-invasive.
It's not a lot of time commitment on your part. There is no downtime or recovery time. You don't need short-term disability with what we do. We want to keep you active.
Call QC Kinetics now to set up your free no-obligation consultation. Learn how you can get real pain relief and stay on the job.
Call QC Kinetics, 501-222-8440. That's 501-222-8440. 501-222-8440.
Of course, you have many options when it comes to great dining options downtown, but there's only one, Dizzy's Gypsy Bistro, still offering a wide selection of all your favorite special craft cocktails, including beer and wine, and a menu featuring gourmet salads and delicious pastas. And Dizzy's is also the multiple-time winner of the World Cheese Dip Competition. With a dog-friendly patio, a funky eclectic atmosphere, and room for large parties with reservations, Dizzy's will have you coming back again and again. Since 1995, Dizzy's Gypsy Bistro, Dizzy'sLR.com.
Don't miss this trade day event at Zeddy's, sponsored by Home Team Heroes, on September 30th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., located at 146 West South Street in Benton. Don't miss out on this exciting opportunity to trade and collect with fellow collectors. September 30th from 11 to 7.
103.7 The Buzz is your home for Arkansas Razorback football coverage each week, brought to you by Genesis of Conway, Lion Legal, Bell Chevrolet, Blackman Auctions, Central Arkansas Cadillac, Bath Makeover of Arkansas, and Malvern National Bank. 103.7 The Buzz, the Hogs play here.
Our care clinics are your hometown source for primary medical care. Our doctors, nurses, and counselors can help patients of all ages with anything from common colds and immunizations to depression, anxiety, and chronic diseases. Our network includes both mail order and local pharmacies to fulfill your prescriptions. If you don't have insurance, it's okay. We can help with that too. And no one is turned away. With more than 65 locations in Arkansas, there's a good chance we're in your hometown. Look us up at ourcare.net.
Want to voice your opinion so you don't have to hear the same terrible callers every day?
Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. Is your landlord ready to evict you? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. Does your girlfriend think you're a worthless loser? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing.
Then call or text 501-661-1037 to help the cause.
Kane is in the building.
Their time is done. It's over.
Over? Did you say over?
Nonsense. I've not yet begun to defile myself.
Call Kenny Loggins because you're in the danger zone.
I play real sports. I'm trying to be the best at exercising.
It's time for 3 and Out. It's been 3 hours, and we are
Boom. Out of here.
All right, it is time for 3 and Out. A few headlines, a few storylines, a few things that we got to dive into. We're speaking about NFL quarterbacks. It was kind of a weird sight, but still kind of a cool thing. Just saw a video of A.J. McCarron warming up and taking snaps with the Bengals because we know that in their quarterback situation, trying to get him back, which he did play for the Bengals for a while, but he's back in action. And everyone always talk about A.J. McCarron. Oh, he's just one of those game managers at Alabama. Well, he's had a stint in the NFL and still married to Catherine Webb and still has a great family life going on for him. And all the stuff that they said that all would be gone or he wouldn't have or whatever, it's proven everybody wrong. But it's kind of cool to see him still get another opportunity to not only be on the Bengals team, but who knows, maybe even get a chance to play some if the Joe Burrow situation or if he gets hurt or anything like that, he may be able to step up into his role.
Brooks Koepka was asked his thoughts on live golfers not having the opportunity to play in the Ryder Cup. And because he is the lone live golfer that is on the U.S. team. Now, as far as the European team, they said that live golfers would not have that opportunity. So there are certain golfers like Ian Poulter, Sergio Garcia, Lee Westwood, Graham McDowell. They all were left off the team. And then with the U.S. team, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, they felt like they should have been on the U.S. team. But with Brooks Koepka, he says, I don't make those decisions. Everybody had the same opportunity to get there. I mean, I had the opportunity as every other live golfer. I'm here. Play better. That's always the answer. And then he asked if it had special meaning to him being the only live golfer. He says, I feel like I'm representing the USA. That's what I've got on the front of my hat this week, so that's what I'm representing. It's not about individuals. We're one team, and that's the way we think. That's what we believe. And I'm pretty sure that everybody else in there, that's what they think.
I like the response from him. It's the right answer. So we were talking about, of course, relationships going on with NFL players, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift being the biggest one. Well, I'm telling you right now, the Cowboys, they're about to be in trouble, real trouble, because this is what, what was it? Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson. Remember all that old fiasco?
Oh, yeah.
Here's a new one, even though it's maybe not as big of a deal, but still a big deal nonetheless. The Cowboys have their tight end, Jake Ferguson, reportedly dating Haley Cavender, who is, of course, part of the Cavender twins. And that's what the New York Post has been putting up. And they're like, okay, here you go. So if the Cowboys start having some issues and whatnot, you got to point to some sort of relationship. But, I always wondered if, again, I know they're two different people, but it's like, if you're Jake Ferguson, and you see them together, how do you decide which one to talk to or go up to? Do you go up to both of them and see if there's a connection with one of them? Because they're identical twins.
Well, one of them already had a boyfriend, so
maybe that's what helps.
The decision was made for him.
Go for the single one's probably a good thing.
You know what the thing is? The link to the story here is now we're gonna hear about tight ends in the NFL, specifically that position. That these are all the relationships we're gonna hear about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it started with the domino effect of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Quarterbacks are out, tight ends are in.
That's
when it comes to the Hollywood relationships.
Former NFL player Croy Bierman, who filed for divorce a couple of times against his wife, Kim Zolak, she said she wants the divorce dismissed once again. She said that because they have been connecting quite a bit lately, and she feels like they are able to repair what was once said by Bierman as being broken with the marriage. She feels like what's happened here with them recently, that they should be able to repair it and move on. And she wants the divorce filing dismissed. It's been dismissed before. She wants it dismissed for a second time.
Well, and there's some we talked about, I guess, earlier today with the situation with Damian Lillard going over to the Milwaukee Bucks and how that's huge news and the trade that they had and everything. Well, it's pretty great for Bucks fans, but Jimmy Butler of the Heat, though, thinks people need to watch for something else. Take a listen.
NBA, man, y'all need to look into the Bucks for tampering. Y'all do. I'm just gonna put that out there. Y'all didn't hear it from me, but I heard it through somebody. Y'all look at him for tampering.
So there you have it. He says you need to look into the Bucks for tampering. He's calling them out. He's like, you didn't hear from me, even though everyone did. But he thinks that the Bucks are tampering, so they need to look into it. I'm sure he's not happy, and the Heat are probably not happy because they probably felt like they had a chance of getting Damian Lillard.
Golden Globe Awards, they're adding 2 new categories, one for cinematic and box office achievement in motion pictures, and the other will be for best stand-up comedian on television. So a couple of new categories added to the Golden Globes, and those will air on Sunday, January 7th. And the nominations will come out about a month sooner, December 11th.
So another crazy story in Hollywood, Cher, who is very well renowned for her student music career, as well as some acting and whatnot. But she, according to Entertainment Tonight, has been accused of hiring 4 men to kidnap her son, Elijah Blue Allman, from a New York hotel in an effort to stop Allman from reconciling with his estranged wife. Marie King, who is his estranged wife, made the startling allegation in court documents that she filed. And the court documents were obtained and now only are making the headlines after the case was uncovered. In the court documents, King claims she was told Cher hired 4 men to remove Allen from the hotel room the night of their wedding anniversary. She claimed that they spent 12 days alone together since November 18th, but all that changed on November 30th when 4 people barged into their hotel room and removed him from the room. So pretty startling stuff. And I guess, the word kidnapping is one that definitely adds a little extra juice to it. But that's pretty messed up. And that's pretty crazy. But hey, if I guess it's the love of your son that you feel like it doesn't need to be with that estranged wife, then I guess the mother's going to do whatever it takes, including hiring 4 men to kidnap you.
Mick Jagger says he can relate to Taylor Swift for wanting to own her own music rights. And this is something that has been a big deal with artists here lately. Either they want to own the rights, or at some point, maybe they sell their library for a lot of money. But he says he's proud of what the Stones accomplished. Says one of the things that he's really proud of with Stones is that they pioneered arena tours with their own stage, with their own sound and everything. And they also did the same with stadiums. He says, I mean, nobody did a tour of stadiums at the time. So Mick Jagger, he's really proud of what they've accomplished with Stones over the years. He's 80 years old and they are well accomplished, but says he can relate to Taylor Swift and want to own the rights to music.
And a story of Was That Wrong? A British Airways pilot has been fired after reports that he snorted cocaine off of a topless woman before trying to fly a passenger plane back to London. He also, he was married, of course, and it was about he boasted about these antics to a stewardess who raised the alarm and said in a text messages that were obtained, says, I've lost my shirt somewhere, and some of the local lads produced a plate with a few lines of coke. And so there is a debate on whether or not whose chest is best to do a bump off of. That come from the women in the nightclub that he met, and then he ended up being fired. So, I mean, because guys aren't allowed to have fun anymore, but yeah, it probably makes sense of why he got sacked.
Speaking of London, according to CNN, they say now is the time to go to Europe, not the summer. And if you're looking to go to Europe during the fall, you want to look at certain destinations: Spain, Portugal, Turkey, Croatia, Greece. Those are all prime destinations in the fall. So if you're thinking about going to Europe, this is the time to go, according to CNN.
Appreciate everybody listening to Out of Bounds today. For Joe Franklin, I'm John Nabors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow afternoon. You better stay tuned, folks, because we got Drive Time Sports.